First episode of SmarmBros.
Yes, here we are. We're ready to go.
We are the SmarmBros. I'm Charles. That makes
me Rich. Well, that's my name anyways.
Rich. The first episode, and wow, it's a doozy. If you guys can stand this whole thing, you're going to love it, first of all.
And you know what? If you're listening to it and you feel yourself, if you feel that little voice in the back of your mind that's saying, I don't know if I really can stand this, skip ahead, okay? You know what? Maybe you don't like what we're talking about in the moment. Maybe you skip ahead. Maybe you fall in love.
You're going to enjoy it. That's the bottom line. You know, we talk about things like robotics.
We talk about the future. We talk about politics.
Austin versus Portland. Oh, there's so much politics.
We get a visit from presidential candidates Donald Trump and Bernie Sanders.
Yep, they both make their appearance. Even a couple other things politically, like jab.
Yes, jab. As well as we talk about diet. We talk about nutrition and eating. And
if you like anything that you hear from this initial episode, please send us an email. Our email, show@smarmbros.com. SMARM bros.com.
Let's get into it.
Awesome. Oh yeah. We got our setup going here, man.
I really like this. This is a nice touch that you added with the cutting board and the knife.
Yeah, for those of you not in the room with us and not on the video feed, there's no video feed. I got this nice desk here, or this nice table with a cutting board with some lemons on it, and some mineral water, San Pellegrino for those of you
squeezer
mineral water enthusiasts, and then some Tito's handmade vodka. This show brought to you by Tito's handmade vodka. They're not a sponsor. But they
still brought to you by it, though.
You know what we need? Well, you know what I need? I need a straw. I'll be right back. I'm going to grab a straw. You entertain the audience.
Okay. So, I really think that if we live to those of us who live to see 2040 will live to see 2140, because the advances in medical technology, in imaging, in 3D printing, especially upcoming biological 3D printing of, bones, organs, replacement limbs, even limbs that are not normal to our body, that we just decide, instead of having to have gone and gotten a straw right now, you could just, print out an organic straw that would extend out of the roof of your mouth on command, like a proboscis, to be used in whatever drink you want. And I think that's going to be a great day when that happens. It's going to be a really exciting time.
I was just reading an article earlier today that said that self-driving cars are going to be around, really soon. Really, really soon.
Sooner than most people think, in my opinion.
And by the year 2018 or 2017, we're going to have automated, which is weird. That's 1 or 2 years from now. We're going to have automated, doctors or, med robots.
Yeah.
How is that 1 or 2 years from now? That seems too soon to be true, right?
No, it's not soon enough, in my opinion.
Maybe in Japan they'll have it.
No,
that's Japanese, right?
I mean, they already have it in Japan. So that's why in 1 or 2 years it'll be here. And I think it's really going to shake things up quite a bit when that happens. I think even though it'll be here, it's people are not going to be willing to embrace it for probably another 3 or 4 years after it's available. It'll be this niche thing that tech entrepreneurs in Silicon Valley will go to their robo-doctor, because it'll be really
robo-doctor, that's a term.
Yeah. I mean, like all new technology, it'll be really expensive to begin with, prohibitively expensive. But as time goes on, it'll get less and less expensive. And I really think we're going to see that over every industry. You know, it'll be, they've already got kiosks at Jack in the Box where instead of going and interacting with a human being, you can just go up and punch in your order, put in your credit card.
Takes care of the baby.
Well, the humans...
You know, like Fallout 4, you know what I mean? He takes care of the baby, can administer a stim pack.
Yeah.
You think stim packs are coming soon?
Yeah, they're already here. I mean...
Allegedly, Wonder Glue is supposed to be invented this year in terms of the Fallout storyline.
Well, no, I mean, you heard about... I forget the official name of it, but the new injectable sort of syringe for gunshot wounds, bullet wounds, and stab wounds that they came out with. It's already been... It's spreading across the country in emergency rooms everywhere. It's basically like, you know, those little sponges that are like a little pill, and you put them, or little towels that are like a little pill or a sponge, and you put them in water, and then they expand and get really big. It's basically a syringe that's filled with like thousands of those that are super, super small, so they can fit through the tip of a syringe.
Yeah. And
they just inject it into the bullet wound, and it just fills it up, and it like stabilizes the wound until it can go to surgery or whatever. It's going to save millions and millions of lives. I'm really excited about that. So that's kind of a stim pack.
I can't wait to say. I mean, like, I'm not
go get shot, bro.
I'm not going to be the one that, you know, saves the lives, but I can't wait.
Why not?
What do you mean? Why not? It's not my job to save people's lives.
Yeah, but the thing is, like
doctors will be administering that, right? Obviously.
Well, at first, but it's like right now, because it's a brand new thing, you know, yeah, it's in the emergency room, but in a couple years, you know, there's no reason to believe or to think why you wouldn't be able to just buy it at the store, right?
Like walk down to CVS or Bartell Drugs.
Yeah.
Hey, can I get that syringe that has the little sponges in it?
Well, I don't know who you would be talking to because there would be no human beings there. But, you know, because...
Oh, yeah, we got to
like we were talking about, you know, all of these things are going to be, you know, that's the interesting thing about futurism is that we can talk all day about this one strand of how things are going to advance, but really there's multiple strands that are all growing together into an interconnected hyperweave.
How about this? I got an idea. So, my opinion on people that talk about the future like that, not all of them, but some of them. If I were to have an opinion about all of them, it would be something... So something like this.
You're talking about me right now.
No, like those people that talk about the future, they're going to be dead in the future. So they can just say whatever they want.
Maybe not, though.
Oh, yeah, pretty soon, you know, we're going to have lipstick, butthole, sniper, little furry things running around the ground, and
We're talking about a video game again.
They clean up your poo, so you're just going to be able to go poo at any time, and it won't even matter, because they're the future. Woo! You know what I mean? So I'm going to be dead at that time. Yeah, it doesn't matter if it happens. Like, we can't be saying, like, oh, this is going to happen 3 years from now. That's my point.
Though.
Like,
we can.
Well, okay, 3 years rolls around, it doesn't happen. What have you got to say for yourself?
Well, according to you, it won't matter because I'll be dead, right? Because any time in the future, we'll just be dead, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, what I'm saying is...
I would probably say... Get it? I didn't say anything because I was dead.
Yeah, it's like these doomsday people and how doomsday is just never coming, you know. It's never, they're like, this is the day that everybody on Earth is going to die. And, yeah.
It's not the same as that, though, because that's not based in any sort of reality.
Well, it doesn't happen, and then the doomsday sayer is like, well, it didn't happen because there was a miscalculation or whatever. Right, so what's your miscalculation when, you know, Cogsworth isn't around by the end of 2018?
I never said Cogsworth would be around. You're the one that said that. I was talking.
So when? Give me a date. Come on, let's stop fooling around.
When
What's
we'll have
the date?
Cogsworth?
Yeah.
Well, if we're gonna go by the,
you're not an expert in this field. Okay, wait. We're sitting down here with Dr. Rich Shaughnessy. He's an expert in robotics and futurism, and he's written a book, The Future and You, and soon to be in bookstores everywhere. Now, Mr. Shaughnessy, when are we going to expect to see Codsworth? Give us a year.
Well, first off, I really want to thank you. I really appreciate this opportunity to sit down with you and discuss the wonders of futurism and robotics and all of these great things that are going to be happening to all of us, and whether we like it or not.
You're welcome.
Thank you. I think that Codsworth will be here. I would say, I give it 10 years, and we'll see him here.
10 years.
Yeah. He'll have his flamethrower. He'll have his saw.
2026?
Yes, 2026. He'll have the 3 eye stalks that follow you. He'll have the British accent. He'll have it all. And, according to my research, it'll be even better than what the folks at Bethesda came up with. Because they were limited by their puny... early 2010s brains. But, within 2 years, we'll have neural implants which will augment our thinking and allow us to back up our memories and thoughts to the clouds, and even create whole copies of our own consciousness to work on problems for us while we're doing other things, like playing ping pong ball or whatever.
That ping pong ball.
Yeah. Yeah. So, that's really my 2 cents, if you're going to ask me about it. Buy the book, for sure.
Buy the book. Dr. Rich Shaughnessy. And scene. That's good. That's good. You make a good doctor.
I know.
On an interview, like on Dr. Phil. Yeah. So you're a doctor of robots?
I'm sorry, I'm just speechless. I just thought that Dr. Phil walked into the room.
You're a doctor of robot. Now tell me something, Sonny boy, Jimbo, Jim Job. Like, you're a doctor of robots. Now, what does that even mean?
Well, I take robots...
And scene. That was my Dr. Phil.
I thought it was amazing.
Thanks. I haven't...
You know what? You're great. Okay.
Mm-hmm. I feel great. Thanks. I feel great.
Are you going to say that I'm great? Or do you just...
Oh, yeah. You're great.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
No prob.
Anyway, back to what I was talking about with the robots.
Yeah. Sorry. I didn't mean to... I do that sometimes. I think you're joking about something, but you're being serious.
I'm serious almost 95% of the time.
So like 94% of the time?
That would qualify as almost 95% for sure.
Yeah.
But really, when I talk about this stuff, when I talk about future technologies, it is sort of my passion. It's something I really...
Tell our listeners, like what's going on in your life right now. So you're getting into robots, and you're on a path in life, and you want to like veer off the path, right? Right? Or you want to go you're at a crossroads, right? Here you are at a crossroads, and you turn left and you go to the sunny California. You turn right and you're headed toward New York. So you're at that crossroads, right? So tell our listeners about that.
This idea of a crossroads is a really antiquated sort of simulation to think about. I would say
simulation, like the Matrix.
I would say more accurately that I'm standing in the middle of the field and I'm looking around and there are no roads anywhere. And I could turn and start walking in a direction and, hopefully if my compass is calibrated correctly, hopefully the way I'm walking will get me to where I want to go. But there's really no road to speak of that is easy to find and follow. And at any point, I can very easily veer off my selected course and get lost. And I think that's a much more accurate, analogy if we want to talk about how to actually live life.
So this robotics thing is in a field, and you see it from afar.
I really think this is going over your head.
Like you need to focus on the robotics thing. So how are you going about doing?
You
that?
understand we're not talking about like automated combines here, right? Like,
I just know you're passionate about robots, and I'm trying to get you to tell your story about that.
Yeah, I'm trying to tell the story, but you seem to be, sort of picking out a couple words from each sentence and trying to sort of steer the conversation off of what I'm trying to talk about at every turn. So, anyway, back to what I was saying.
I got nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with you telling your story. That's all I'm going to say.
Thank
about
you.
That. So please continue.
I appreciate that. I think that, as we move into this brave new world, if I may say so, there's going to be an interesting choice before us of these new technologies coming out and...
Brave New World, kind of like the book. You heard about that book?
And how they're going to be distributed, are they just going to be kept for the wealthy, or, will they be able to be available to everyone? Because, when you have a McDonald's that's the size of a vending machine and you can just walk up to it and it'll print out your burger and your fries and whatever you want, and it's significantly cheaper than having a big building and, farming all the materials from a farm and cows and feeding the cows and transporting everything to the McDonald's to be prepared and processing centers, and not to mention the human beings that have to work there and serve you your food. That will be a lot less expensive. And the question is, will McDonald's make their food less expensive? Will a printed out Big Mac be less expensive than a Big Mac now that's made by a human being, and that the beef comes from an actual cow and not from a lab, and the potatoes are grown out of the dirt? Will there be a premium on that, or will we all just get anally raped for the next century?
I haven't used a vending machine in a long time.
So you don't know what I'm talking about?
You're talking about food vending machines, like McDonald's vending machines, and it made me think, like, I walk past vending machines all the time, and I just never use them.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I really don't either.
Maybe I'd use a vending machine if it were, higher quality stuff than, like, gum and chips and, like...
Right.
And cookies and stuff.
Yeah, because since I stopped drinking soft drinks, I haven't really, I used to go to the soda machine.
Like, here's what I would need from a vending machine. I totally get what you're saying, right? You stop drinking soda, all that kind of stuff. I would need it to dispense like a perfectly cooked and rested grass-fed steak, or like an omelet with 3 pasture-raised eggs, and, like real farm-to-table shit. Okay.
Farm to vending machine to table.
Farm to vending machine. Thank you. Yeah, exactly. So I'm on board with that. I'm totally on board.
You should start a business.
Oh, I'm gonna. Now that I got the idea from you. You didn't give me the idea. I just had the idea
That's not what I was talking about at all.
No, exactly. So you can't sue me and, take part of my business when I become a multi-billionaire.
I would never do that. I would never do that. I can't believe you would. I can't believe you would even insinuate that I would do such a thing.
I'm not worried about it. It's fine. Like,
I've never asked you for money.
Like, so. you say that now, but then your lawyer says, "But do you know how much you could have gotten?"
I don't have a lawyer. I don't.
So you'll never have a lawyer? Is that what you're saying?
I'm not a litigious person. Okay.
Well,
I prefer to settle things.
It's very
mano a mano.
It's very un-American of you.
Your face, my face, no constitution in between us, and all that rigmarole. I'd rather just.
Is this light good? Should I turn that off? It's a little bit bright. Yeah, I think I'm going to turn this light off real quick. Turning the light off. Oh, wow.
It's much moodier in here now.
It's nice.
Yeah.
Oh, man. I like the vibe here. Oh, gotta put this on.
For the listener, Charlie is putting on his fitness tracker
smartwatch. Yeah.
The
Microsoft Band 2.
To keep track of how many calories he burns during this podcast, I guess.
Well, I can watch my heart rate rise whenever I get angry.
Yeah? Is it because you can't recognize yourself when you get angry, so you have to take a look at the thing, or?
No reason. I need to refill my vodka drink. I'm on a health binge, so I'm drinking vodka. You know? What's your normal drink?
Actually, I just recently bought a bottle of Trader Joe's brand scotch. It's an 8-year scotch. It was really good. I have to say, for anyone out there wanting high quality spirits at reasonable prices,
they're not an advertiser, but
Joe's.
You know, we would love to have them on as an advertiser.
I would
show at smarmbros.com for those of you advertisers out there looking to spread the word.
I would jump at that.
Because nobody's heard of Trader Joe's.
I would jump at that like a feral crocodile.
If I were Trader Joe's, yeah, exactly. I mean, our show, you know, we reach at least 10 listeners. I mean, if we can't reach 10 listeners on our first show, I mean, there's something wrong, right?
Well, I mean, there's you and me.
And then we can at least force family members and friends to listen.
We could trick at least up to 8 other people into listening for at least until we make the mention of Trader Joe's.
And, you know, this show's going to run 2-3 hours, you know, usually.
Yeah, I think we're shooting for 3-4 hour
I don't know.
pod.
Well, all I can say is that I don't see why they would have a problem like listening to something for 3 or 4 hours, you know, and not doing anything else. Like, I mean,
you go for your afternoon. You go for you know, the average Joe goes for their 3 to 4 hour afternoon jog, and they listen to a podcast, you know, or an audiobook.
Yeah, the average American that loves to jog for 3 or 4 hours.
Yeah.
They just throw that on and they kind of escape.
My doctor said that's what I should do.
They escape, right?
Yeah.
Well, I've been trying this thing lately where I don't eat anything.
Yeah?
Yeah. I just ate today after not eating since Sunday.
So you're really failing.
I felt like eating, so I just did it. But for like 2.5, 3 days, I didn't feel like I wasn't hungry, you know?
I don't.
I felt great too. I lost 8 pounds of water weight in that time, and
you're going to get it all back, though, right?
The only downside to not eating is, for me, I need to sleep a lot. So I slept like 10 hours.
I think they call that fatigue.
Yeah, I think. Well, I mean, like when I wake up, I'm good. You know, and then when I'm working, I'm good. When I get home, I'm just like, oh man, I don't want to do anything. I just want to sleep. So I'll like go to bed really early and stuff, and wake up pretty late.
That's pretty satisfying in my experience.
It's like a recovery thing, you know. I don't have anything against it. It's just like, you know, the reason I'm fasting long term is to repair my insulin resistance. Mm-hmm. And there's lots of ways you can do that. Eating no or low carbohydrates is one way, but
carbohydrates are the worst, aren't they?
For insulin, for insulin resistant people. But what I'm saying is, like, you know,
I just ate a bunch of carbs today, and I feel horrible.
Cut out as many variables.
I just feel so like sick to my stomach all the time. Like
I can tolerate carbs. I ate what I ate. I mean, I ate carbs. I ate 100 grams worth of carbs.
Ugh.
Like, I had these Yukon Gold potatoes and onions, and I just fried them in some grass-fed butter.
Oh, man.
Awesome. Yeah.
I don't know how you do it.
Yeah, as long as it's not from wheat, gluten, and there's no dairy, like, I'm pretty good. Like, like, rice is okay, but it's just kind of, you're making a face. It's like, oh, you're kind of disgusted at me right now. Right, rice is okay.
Rice?
I like potatoes more though, and
well, yeah,
they're lower in calorie actually.
Not, you know,
like
we're not like.
Well, that's kind of racist, dude.
I don't know what you're talking about.
You know, I did eat. I was hanging out with my Japanese friends actually last week.
I see how it happened now. They forced you to eat the rice.
No rice. No, we actually went out to like a Japanese like ramen place, and they had to order for me because like there were pictures of the food, and I was like, "What is this? What am I looking at?"
And they were like, "It's ramen."
They were like, "Oh, that's pork," or "Oh, that's chicken," or whatever.
No, that's racist.
That's how they sound, though. Well, my friends, specifically. It's my impression of my friend. It's not like I'm imitating Asian random person. That's exactly how he sounds. I make the best impression of my friend.
Well, I am inclined to believe you since your Dr. Phil was so good.
So, but potatoes I seem to be okay with as long as I, like, peel them. So I can't do the skin. I can't just, like, chop them up with the skin on. I just...
Yeah. I usually like to eat just the skins.
I don't say I don't like to eat the skins. I'm just saying I can't do it because I'll feel like crap afterwards.
Oh.
I feel great when I'm eating them. You know what I'm saying?
I guess I've never
Potato
had the
skins?
experience of not feeling like crap after eating, so it's hard for me to relate.
Yeah. Well, you know what they say. It's like you're not doing it right if unless you don't eat until you're full. You eat until you hate yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah. But hey, I think that I don't know what the tipping point was for me to switch everything up.
Tipping the scale point.
It might have been like the
right?
scale for me. The scale hit 300 pounds, and that was cool. 300 is not a big deal. It's like, oh, I'm 300 pounds now, not a big deal. But then it hit 320. I was like, oh fuck, I'm fat.
Yeah, I never got that high.
Yeah, I got pretty high, and from 300 to 320, it only took like a month and a half. So I was able
you must have been really cowing it up.
Man, so at that time
eating a lot of grass.
I would eat like one of those pizzas. I would eat 3 to 4 of those Totino's like pizzas that you can buy for like $2
like
piece.
in a sitting?
Yeah, one sitting. So
that's quite a bit.
It was just enough for me. Yeah. Yeah, it really was. Like, they say, like, oh, if you're fat, just watch your calories. But no, you want to eat. You can, not only can I can't even eat one of those in one sitting anymore. But when I was fat, man, I could throw back. It's like drinking. Like, you develop a tolerance to alcohol, so you need more and more and more and more. Well, when you're fat, you need more and more food to, like, satisfy yourself. So.
Sure.
We want some more lemon?
Yeah, thank you.
Do it up.
Slice it up, bro. Thanks.
Yeah.
Pass the Tito's over here.
Oh yeah, why isn't this on this should just be on the cutting board, on the cutting edge of the cutting board.
I want it within reach, okay?
And this is nice. This is kind of how I jam out lately instead of I'm going to cut out alcohol completely. My goal this year is to cut it out completely and forever, pretty much. Mm-hmm. And I did an experiment up until a few days ago where I didn't drink at all since the beginning of that's fine. It's the beginning of January, and it takes forever to get to sleep unless I'm drinking. Like it takes me 30, 45 minutes to get to sleep. But when I'm drinking, after 3 drinks now,
So
I can fall asleep within about 8 minutes.
Let's pause there. Let's talk about that. What is it, do you think, that keeps you from getting to sleep? Is it just physical body discomfort, or is it like a racing mind and thinking about the day and the next day? And
no. I mean, like, I even supplemented with melatonin to, like, make me feel drowsy, and
so
it did.
It's neither of those things?
It's a combination of a multitude of things.
Right. What are the things is what I'm trying to figure out. Like, for example?
I just don't fall asleep immediately. I mean, like...
I get that. What I'm asking is, why do you think that is?
I have too much energy because of my eating habits and stuff, I think is a big portion.
Do you tend to have an irregular schedule as far as when you go to sleep and when you wake up?
I wake up at the same time every day, but I have to, it seems like I generally need to, so when I'm not drinking, I only sleep for about 5 hours. So I have to go to bed between 12 and 1, and then, I end up waking up around 6 or 7. So between 6 and 7 is when I end up waking up. But I end up waking up around 7 most days anyways, currently. So, but it's all controlled by hormones, and it's just about correcting my hormones. And alcohol, it kind of ages you quicker, so I'm looking to cut that out, mostly. Like 95% of the time. So my friend told me about this thing called activated charcoal. I'm going to try that. It supposedly helps if you can even the way he described it to me was if you're drinking and you take some activated charcoal, it makes you not drunk. So it makes it so you can drink longer and be more
my willow bark shave soap has activated charcoal in it. So I can totally speak to that for sure.
Well, it supposedly just like helps with a hangover and stuff too. If you have a hangover, it helps you recover the next day. So I'm going to order some activated charcoal, and I think I'm going to drink for the month of February and maybe even March. I'm trying to lose another 10.
Gotta hit that St. Patty's Day, brah. Am I right? Pound it.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Woo! Just high fived for those of you listening. Just no, not really. Like seriously, like I mainly at this point really want to stop. I want to cut out as many variables as possible, and I'd love to just be able to get to sleep like that without any supplements, without any outer forces or whatever.
I really highly recommend mindfulness meditation as a practice for that, because really I've been doing it for about 6 months now, and there's really nothing that puts you in the state of deeper relaxation that I've found. Then it's like several thousand years of fine-tuned sort of control of the mind and body. It's really helped me out quite a bit. I can't do it if I'm laying down because I will just fall asleep. Like if I want to do it, because I typically meditate for 20 minutes in the morning, then I have to get up and sit either on my zafu or in my chair, and if I do it at night, I can do it and I can just fall asleep right away. It's really great.
My friend, so that's a good recommendation, and I'll listen back to the replay so I can remember what that is. But my friend recommended to me that I read a book, like a physical book.
Yeah.
And just like the physical exertion of holding the book.
Never heard that before.
Trying to read it, like during bedtime, just makes you fall asleep. But my problem is I'm so interested in books and I'm so interested in what I'm reading that just wouldn't work for me.
Yeah, my problem, I've had the same problem where books tend to keep me up because it's God, I gotta get to that. What's on the next page? It's if I'm not reading a book that doesn't give me that feeling where I need to stay up so I can see what's on the next page. Maybe it's just me, but I don't want to read that book.
It's kind of like me and my YouTube subscriptions. I'm so far behind on watching my YouTube subscriptions that I could just watch them for days. Maybe I should just watch YouTube subscriptions and try to fall asleep.
Have you tried out the speed up feature on YouTube? Watch at 1.5 times speed.
I've heard about that. I haven't tried it.
You should give it a try. It's jarring at first, but you'd be surprised how easily, after 5 to 10 minutes, your brain just adjusts to the new speed, and you don't really even notice that it's sped up, and it just seems normal.
Well, some of the stuff on YouTube, I just have there for audio content, so I might try that. Totally might be down to try that.
Give it a try, brah.
Oh, I will. I'm going to take your advice seriously on all this stuff you're talking about. I don't believe you at all, but I appreciate you
patronizing me there.
It's my style, as you probably know.
But really, what do you back to what we were talking about before we went off on all this food bullshit and shit about you that no one cares about. The future, right? Do you think that
we'll be dead?
Do you think that a McDonald's operated by robots should be less expensive? The way I see it, if you want to go into a restaurant and sit down and be served by a human being and have a human being prepare your food with ingredients that were grown out of the ground and animals that were raised naturally. I think that's going to get super expensive. All of the other stuff is, the stuff that's automated, that's made by robots, or just printed out from vending machines, that's all going to be very not expensive.
It depends, because there's like a tipping point where the minimum wage is raised to a certain point, and then it becomes more affordable to do everything robotically instead of hiring somebody to do it. Mm-hmm. That's my opinion.
Yeah.
Are we there already? I don't know. Ask Bernie Sanders.
It's already starting to happen.
Look, we need to raise the minimum wage.
Another priceless Charlie.
Look, the 1%, the top 10%
oh my God,
of
Bernie.
the top 5%.
Wow, it's so great to meet you. How did you get into Charlie's recording studio? Oh, wait, that was just you.
Look, I love people that make minimum wage.
Oh,
They're
no.
great people.
Now
They're
it's
awesome.
Donald Trump. Donald and Bernie debate this soon in Charlie's recording studio? How did this happen?
They're great. If I were to talk to people making minimum wage right now, I'd say, look, you're awesome. We just need to fire you because we can hire robots to do the same work for less money.
That's what I like to hear. I'm voting Trump for sure now. Yes.
Maybe they'll just hire illegals to do all that work.
Like
illegals,
illegal
man.
robots?
Yeah, well, I mean, robots will be illegal in some
Those
countries.
darn Mexican robots. Man, shoddy construction.
Yeah, man, you gotta be careful.
But you know what? They work
rape
harder.
People,
they work harder, right?
That's what they say. I follow Ann Coulter on Facebook. I know these things.
Oh, God.
I actually have a friend who's like, he like posted behind my back. He posted that he was like, out of all 1,000 friends of mine, luckily only one of them likes Ann Coulter, the scum of the universe. And it had a picture of my profile, but it was like blurry, and so people didn't know who it was, but it's barely blurred. And a friend of mine sent it to me, and I was like, I just like her page for the entertainment value because it's super entertaining. It's like the same reason I like Donald Trump's page or Hillary Clinton's page. They're hilarious.
But now he's going to get elected because
I can't wait.
You liked him.
Mm-hmm. Can't wait.
Like, that's how elections work now. It just goes by the amount of social media followers that the candidate has.
The way I see it is if he gets elected and then assassinated, that's cool. Like, that seems to be the...
He's not going to get assassinated, though, because he's going to assassinate everyone else first. Right?
No, I think he'll be the... I was just reading an article earlier today that said, today marks the longest time in U.S. history that we've gone without a president dying in office. And I think Trump is going to break that. If he gets elected. I don't think he will, but if he does...
Look, I'm top of the polls. The people love me. Everybody loves me.
There he is again.
That's what he says.
I know he does. He's not wrong. Right? He is.
Like they're all talking about his tweets and stuff. Like, who cares about his tweets?
America?
I'm boycotting the Fox debates because that bimbo is not going to give me a fair shot at answering questions.
The downside is he's the only, out of the Republicans, like, he's the best bullshitter out of all of them. You know what I mean?
I didn't think we were going to get political on this show. I'm not really comfortable with this.
Is Trump really a politician, though? Like, you know what I mean? But Bernie Sanders and the top 10%? Yeah. He is great, though. You know what I mean?
I mean, he'll die in office. He's like 85 years old, right?
No, he's 77.
Oh, only 77.
He's not the oldest person to run, and he's not the oldest person to be elected, actually. In fact, he's not even in the top 10, I don't think.
Especially because he's not going to be elected. Oh!
Wow.
Shit. Because he's too anti-establishment. Right?
I'm ready to move on. From presidential candidates. My whole point was, he wants to raise the minimum wage.
You wanted to do your impressions of the president.
He wants to raise the minimum wage.
I got the point. You just wanted to show everyone how amazing the Charles Shaughnessy impressions of presidential candidates are. SNL, watch out.
Well, thanks. Nobody's ever quite complimented me with such regalia as that, so I appreciate it.
That's what I bring to the table, 100% sincerity.
I've been thinking a lot about just if I were to start a franchise, which franchise would I start? And you've been saying McDonald's over and over and again. I don't think I'd start a McDonald's.
I don't think you would start a McDonald's either.
Wait, why not?
Because you hate their food.
I never said that.
You didn't have to say it. It's written all over your face.
Like, if I'm in a bind and there's nothing around and there's a McDonald's, I'll eat it.
So you're not saying you hate their food. You're just saying that you'll only eat it as a complete last resort.
I don't like fast food. I don't like fast food. Now,
okay.
In fact,
so it's not that you hate McDonald's. It's just that you don't like fast food, of which McDonald's happens to be in that category of restaurant.
Fast food is sometimes convenient, but it's just...
No one's arguing that it's not convenient.
I would almost rather just not eat than eat fast food. It just kind of...
But you love McDonald's, but you'd almost rather just not eat, right? Is that what you're saying? You seem to be really arguing that you don't dislike McDonald's right now, and yet everything you say is basically I would really rather not eat there.
No, McDonald's is just too expensive lately, is really what the problem is.
That's the problem.
A Big Mac's what, $5? It's crazy. Do you know what the price of a Big Mac is?
Well, they were doing a promotion not too long ago where you could get 2 for $5. So what does that tell you?
Well,
and you know what you can do? You can buy 2 McDoubles and just stack them on top of each other, add Mac sauce onto them. That's even better than a Big Mac because that's 4 patties, right? Big Mac's only 3.
Word. No, I was just going to say, if I'm opening a franchise, I was reading that Jimmy John's is, the fastest growing franchise, and then Five Guys. Have you had Five Guys?
One time I've been to Five Guys. It took too long, It took too long to get the burger.
Wasn't fast enough?
Yeah. I like their food, but I just wish it would be faster. You know what I mean?
How long do you have to wait?
No, it was good. I liked Five Guys. I think Five Guys Five Guys has a lot going for it just from the pun factor, Almost
I haven't been there. I haven't been there.
Almost like Dick's. You've heard of Dick's Burgers. With all the girls go, I'd like to get a dick in me, right? Some dicks in me.
Whoa, I
right?
haven't heard that at all, no.
Yeah,
is that seriously their marketing campaign?
Well, it's not. It's
That's
not
inappropriate. What would the gays say about that?
The same thing, right?
I mean, if you're lesbian.
I'd like to get some plastic dicks in me, right? A nice open-faced sandwich, right?
To all of the social justice warriors that are listening
open-faced
right now,
sandwich.
I have nothing to do with these statements. I don't know anything about that. I'm just saying, I've heard it's the highest quality fast food out there, burgers wise. Do they do
so when you say
low carb options?
So when
or
you
anything?
say
Do they do a protein style?
When you
they
say
call it?
franchise, you're basically. It sounds like you're pretty much limiting yourself just to food places.
No, not at all. Those just a lot of them perform. I subscribe to Entrepreneur Magazine. It has a listing of all the. They had the franchise 500. It was their last.
Ooh,
magazine.
Entrepreneur Magazine. Oh,
I'm an entrepreneur.
Whoa.
That's what I am. I'm a shitty entrepreneur.
I'm an entrepreneur. Look at me. Ooh,
I am. Have you seen my latest business cards? You got to see this. It's. You got. I sound like Trump now.
You got to see it. You're gonna love it.
Don't go Patrick Bateman on me, okay?
I had these business cards made, and when I was the print, the proof that I sent them was really vibrant and really bright, but contrasting colors and everything.
Jesus Christ! It even has a watermark.
But when it But when it arrived, you got to see this. Hold on, this is ridiculous. Like, I have it right here.
I'm really not going to care about this as much as you think I am. I'm pretty sure.
Not. That's because you're so fucking smarmy. So, like, look at it, and, like, you can barely read it. Like, it feels good or whatever, but you can...
It does. I feel like I could scrape ice off my windshield with this thing.
Feel free to take that and use it as your ice scraper. I would be honored.
Well, I've got an ice scraper, so I wouldn't do that. And this is a little bit too big to keep in my wallet. I don't like extra cards that are this heavy. I like the stock, though. I think it would be good for, like, a D&D handout. It would work really well.
Yeah, these, you know, they have a lot of companies. You know, Vistaprint, I've had a great experience with their service because it
does look like the printer was running out of ink as it was printing.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, fuck you guys, Vistaprint. But if you ever want to become a sponsor for our show, would love that because your service is great, your product is good, and I am dissatisfied with the way this came out, but it could be my fault as well. You know, I could just choose.
I see under
colors.
lists of what you call yourself a gamer. Mm-hmm. That's pretty neat.
Is that okay? Yeah, well, like,
it's not up to me.
Later this year, I'm going to start Twitching or Twitch TV. I have a Twitch channel.
They call it streaming.
Well, I know it is streaming, but it's game, so it's Twitch. But you can stream from YouTube.
They don't say twitching though; they say streaming.
I just made
people on Twitch say streaming.
Well, I'm gonna start twitching. I don't fucking care what other people say. And you know, if you don't like it, you can go pound sand.
No, I'd love to be a part of your. If you want, I'd love to be a featured player on your stream. To be
the
honest.
Only downside is my internet connection right now is just so slow. Like, I can't stream right now because of my internet connection. So.
If we move in together and we get a house, you know what? We could have a massive streaming lab.
So okay, so we're right near the end of January, and this is so I'm out of here in June. You know, at the latest June. I can leave earlier than that. You know, I just got to pay a big fee that's like $800, $900, so it's not a big deal. It's just a big. No, it is. That was a joke. Like, that's a lot of money just to be like, oh, I'm moving out. Fuck you. You got to pay extra money.
Just don't pay it.
So how many places have you looked at in the month of January?
There's no point in looking in the month of January because anything we look at in the month of January will be gone by June. So, none.
Yeah, me too. I feel the same way. I just figured I'd bring it up. So this has been another segment of Rich and Charles Look for a House. Thanks.
Masterfully done.
Mm-hmm. So what are we drinking today? What is this? So we've kind of...
What do you call this drink?
So in the European Union, they call it a skinny bitch.
Are you just making that up right now, or is that...
Nope. And what it is it's vodka and mineral water. And the vodka of choice...
Some lemon.
Lime is what it's supposed to be. Lemon, it's a citrus. It's fine. It's not like a big deal.
So we can't call it that then, because it's not. These things matter when you're talking about drinks.
No, any citrus works. You could use a grapefruit, but that would be gross.
I don't think so. I think it'd be pretty good. I love grapefruit. Ruby
Grapefruit's
Reds.
nasty.
Ruby Red. Give me some.
It's disgusting,
I'll take some.
That's all I got to say about that.
Haven't had a grapefruit in over a year. Now that you just said it, gotta get me some. It's been too long.
These fucking people that eat grapefruit and sugar for breakfast and stuff. Like, that's the grossest thing I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah, man. Drizzle the sugar on there, put it in the oven.
It's not sweet enough.
Put it in the oven for a minute or two. Hell yeah, man.
Grapefruit's already sweet as shit.
Caramelize that shit on the top. Baby. Love it. Got your special spoon that's just for eating grapefruit. You've got a special utensil for one particular food item.
You know, the person that introduced that to me was Grandma. Like, that was her breakfast. She's old now. It's kind of gross, though, that was her breakfast.
Well, you got to chase down the morning brandy with something, right?
I think at that time she was doing the morning brandy.
What do you mean at that time?
I don't think she's doing it anymore.
Since she, was 5 years old?
I just saw them last week. I stopped at her house last week, and I said hi.
How's she doing? Still breathing?
She can still walk and stuff.
That's good.
I think she's like 79 or 80 now. You know, so she's doing pretty good for an 80-year-old, I guess. When I'm 80, I hope to still be like lifting weights every day and stuff.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you're going to look like you're 50 when you're 80 because of the
I don't know about
technology.
that. It all depends. Yeah, well, like, they say 2040 is when we're going to, like, uncover, like, we're going to discover this, like, people, we're going to be able to live well past 100 at 2040. And at 2040, I'm going to be 55, 56 years old. Mm-hmm. So I'm already going to be, I'll already look 50 at that point. So they'd have to reverse it by 4 or 5 years to really look exactly at 50. So I wouldn't look a day older than 56.
Yeah, but I mean, if you quit drinking alcohol like you're saying, then maybe by the time you're 56, you'll look 45.
You might be right. Well, the other thing, too, is, like, not a lot of people make healthy decisions, you know. I don't think Gammy Num Nums made healthy decisions.
You don't have to look at me like that when you say that.
Look at you like what? Like how I've been looking at you for the last 49 minutes and 15 seconds?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, sorry. You know what? I'm out of ice. We got to re-ice. Do you want more ice?
I'm fine, thank you.
I got to re-ice. Is that okay if I re-ice?
I could go with some more ice, actually. Thank you.
Oh, man, this scent. So one of the things about mineral water is different mineral waters have different amounts of mineral content. And
you don't say. Tell me more about this amazing mineral water.
Well, like, I was, you know, Costco they have San Pellegrino, and then they have the Perrier stuff. Are you familiar with those two brands?
Yeah, hate it and love it.
And, wait, you hate San Pellegrino? That's
sure.
The stuff we're... Okay. Well, no, anyways, turns out...
Sorry, I got lost.
So they have two different brands of mineral water.
Explain it to me.
Mineral water comes from natural springs.
Now,
water.
why do they call it mineral water? I don't see anything in there. It just looks like water to me.
It's kind of fizzy, you know, but there's lots of minerals in there.
Well,
lots.
I mean, I've had plenty of fizzy water, but they just call that fizzy water.
On the San Pellegrino website or on the Perrier website, they actually have like a listing, like kind of a nutritional ingredients of all the minerals in their water.
So it says it on the website, so it must be true.
Yeah, well, it's like, you know, it's like a nutritional label on their website or whatever. And then, you know, it's also corroborated on Wikipedia and a bunch of other sites, too.
Oh, on Wikipedia. Well.
Yeah, which must be true.
Must be true.
Anyways, so, like, it turns out San Pellegrino has, like, way more minerals. And so it's always worth it to go with San Pellegrino instead of Perrier. Perrier is not an advertiser, nor is San Pellegrino. So if either one of them wants to step up, you know, we would love to have either one of them. They'd be great. Perrier's great. San Pellegrino's great.
You're great.
You're great.
Thank you.
When you're not, you know, lambasting me in my Wikipedia versus on the internet.
What? You've given me way more shit than I've given you so far, so I don't want to hear it.
Well, okay? I'm the smarmy one. I'm allowed to do all that.
It's SmarmBros. We're both smarmy.
Well, we'll let the audience decide who the real Smarm.
I think they've already decided.
Prince is. What is that supposed to mean? Well, I hope it's a good thing either way. I know that this vodka's great. Tito's. Austin makes this is all made in Austin, Texas. You know, so I'm thinking about...
Keep Austin weird.
You know, Portland says the same thing.
Austin said it first, though.
Yeah, and I have a friend that lives in Austin, and she may even listen to this at one point.
People in Austin hate Portland.
Oh, exactly. I don't know if we've already talked about this or something.
No,
but
I
she
just
told
know
me,
things.
Dude, you're exactly right. So I brought up... I was like, I was in Portland, and they were like, keep Portland weird. And she's like, they're fucking thieves. We said that first. Austin was the first place to say that. Those fucking thieves. I've never heard her say, like, a mean thing in her life, but she, like, hates Portland. Like, hates it. Like, if she saw somebody in Portland, she would probably, like, you know, well, she wouldn't kill them, but you know what I mean.
Like someone wearing the same kind of glasses that Fred Armisen wears in Portlandia, she would just punch them in the face. Mm-hmm. And, like...
There's no Austin-dia. There's no, you know what I mean? It's Portlandia. Portland is the weird place. Like, Austin did it first, but hey, they missed out. They missed the boat.
Yeah.
I think it's because they're Texas, and it's like, oh, you're Texas, you're like guns and fucking beer and stuff, you know what I mean? And fuck immigrants, you know?
Yeah, Austin is just like Portland with guns everywhere.
The other thing about Texas is there are a lot of black people there, so I'm surprised that, like, Texans, in my opinion, like, they're often portrayed as, like, overly racist. But, like, all of our teammates that are in Texas, like, I think there's 11 or 12 of them, and 9 of them are black. So,
well, that proves it. No racists in Texas.
I think it's concentrated in specific areas, like the Dallas area is going to have a lot of white people, you know, the racist and stuff like that.
That's
man.
your amazing Dallas, Texas prospector.
You don't got to point it out. You don't got to point. So this is our first episode, and let's establish some ground rules.
I'm sorry, I like it.
Let's just establish some ground rules, okay? So like, I'm gonna do impressions. They're bad, all of them. And you just gotta let it happen. You just gotta let it happen. Let it like wash over you. And
at least I didn't interrupt you in the middle of what you were trying to say and not let you finish.
Allow it to happen, and you don't even acknowledge it. Just like pretend like it's just like, oh, he just does that all the time.
Yeah,
and it's like a normal
wacky
thing. He's just a wacky guy. And I Dallas Fort Worth there. Yeah. So I mean, like,
what's your name?
My name's Rodney. I'm here from Dallas.
Rodney. Wow.
Yeah.
It's nice to meet you, Rodney. I like your hat.
Yeah, it's a Make America Great Again because I'm voting for that Donald J. Trump for president.
J. Trump? Donald J. Trump?
Donald Trump.
Oh.
Donald J. Trump.
Donald J. Trump.
I imagine they would like say the whole name, like if they were serious about voting, you know, for him.
Mm-hmm.
I imagine Texas, you know, Jeb Bush is like governor of Texas or whatever, right? So,
was he Florida?
Oh, it's Florida. No, it was George Bush was in Texas. That's right.
Well, they're all from Texas.
They're all from Texas. Maybe that's Texas. What I meant. That's what I meant. So, I don't know who the governor of Texas is now that I'm thinking about it. I thought it was one of the presidential candidates, so I don't know.
Well, I just really like you're keeping up with the election anyway.
Oh yeah, I'm super into this election. It's wildly entertaining. It's the most entertaining election we've ever had in our lifetime. And the other cool thing is like, or the other funny thing I guess is like, everybody has like their presidential campaign slogan. And Jeb Bush, it's just JEB exclamation point. That's his slogan.
Jeb!
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 Jeb! Yeah.
That is, you know what?
I like how it, like...
I'm a lot more hyped.
Have some ear bleed there.
I'm a lot more hyped for Jeb now, just from that.
Jeb!
Just like, at first, like before, I was just like, no one's going to vote for him. But with a slogan like that, I mean, how could you not? You know? It's like, I'd get that bumper sticker.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, Jeb Bush, I really don't know anything about him. I think that, you know, representative government overall is just, it's outdated. It's not necessary anymore. There's really, I don't see why we need to vote for anyone. Like,
well, the other thing is like these political monarchies, like why do we want to like perpetuate like a political monarchy, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like, why do we want another Clinton? Why do we want another Bush?
I'm definitely not in favor of political familial dynasties in America. They are not American to me.
Just get out of politics.
I really think that our political system should just be Reddit, honestly.
I think I'm leaning more toward like a parliamentary like form of government.
Well, no, the thing is, to me, the idea behind representative government was that you lived on a farm, right? And you could not leave the farm to go who knows how long the journey would take to get into town from the farm on your wagon, to go into town to attend the council meeting or, you know, talk to people about what you want to do in government. 'Cause if you left the farm and you didn't work on the farm for that week or whatever that it took you to ride into town on your wagon, then your children would starve to death. So you needed to elect someone to represent your interests, hopefully, But in the age we're in now, where we have instantaneous communication with pretty much everyone, anywhere, representative government to me is just not really necessary anymore, you know. And I think that if we had a political system that was just basically Reddit, where you know, policies could be suggested by anybody, and the cream would rise to the top, as they say. And, you know, you could spend 5 minutes a day or 10 minutes a day voting on what you want to have happen in politics, and it would give an opportunity for political science to actually be a thing. Because think about how many people that are out there right now that have all the completely correct, perfect ideas that could completely fix our country and improve prosperity for everyone, but that'll never happen because they're ugly or they're not charismatic. Or it's like they have no chance of running a campaign and getting elected to do anything. But their ideas are very valuable, and I think that if we were able to somehow have a system that could divorce ideas from personalities and the people themselves, I think that would have the maximum chance of improving prosperity for everyone.
No, you're exactly right. And the other thing to kind of feed off of that, this system is becoming more and more irrelevant, okay? Like, so, and again, it sounds like you haven't been following this presidential election too much, but there's just some fascinating
Well, I just got
stuff.
back on Facebook, so I'm kind of inundated
know, right?
with it now. You know?
That's the other thing, and we're going to talk about that in a minute, but one of the things that's kind of fascinating about this election is I didn't know that these things called super PACs existed. It's like a company that backs a presidential candidate with just like millions of dollars or something like that. And Jeb Bush has a massive super PAC, and he's like one of the top funded candidates, and he has 5% of he's polling at 5% right now. Mm-hmm. And he's spending that money on like advertising and, you know, commercials and all kind, like he's spending all that money, and it just kind of goes to prove that like advertising in politics is becoming less and less important. Like nobody cares, you know what I mean? So it's like what you were saying, you know, people don't care about the advertising and the celebrity of the person anymore. They're gonna just like, they just need to get the information properly. You know what I mean? I do think that change. I don't know how easy it'll be to change a lot of things that are wrong.
We
with
just
the
have
country,
to wait
but
for a couple of generations to die off. Because a lot of these ideas,
Republicans are still they kind of have to be anti-gay marriage, which is already the lay of the land. They have to be anti-marijuana, which is already becoming the lay of the land.
Well,
and
I think they're really shooting themselves in the foot right now, because if you take a look around, and I want you to think about how often you see children who basically their parents give them an iPad in lieu of having to parent them or having to like deal with them, and they just sort of give them this iPad or computer or what, you know, Windows tablet, whatever, to sort of mesmerize their child so that they're just not a bother, so the parents can go do what they want to do. And I think a lot about the effect that that's going to have about children that are going to grow up, that are growing up right now, who are going to bond more with their computers than with their own families and their own parents. And when those children grow up, their relationship to technology is going to be vastly different than ours is now. They're most likely not going to have any of the fears that we now have about letting technology infiltrate and rule every aspect of their lives. So when they grow up and they start being able to take power, they may start to implement these radical changes and ideas in our society that I'm all for it. I mean, I can't wait, honestly.
It's going to be a good time. And so tell the listeners about you took a 2-year sabbatical from Facebook, longer, less, not that long.
It's like almost 3 years.
It's about
I don't
almost
know
3
exactly.
years. You took off from Facebook. So guide us through. So you're at a point in life where you need to cut it out. And now you're reintroducing it. What was that like? What were the pros and cons?
I'll be honest. So it's the reason I got off Facebook was it was due to period of my life when I was suffering pretty severely from chronic depression for years on end. And it was, I would say, pretty much all of my thought processes at that time were sort of tainted by that. And I called it in therapy a sort of depressive test, like a sick test, where basically my thought process at the time was, these people, they call me their friend, right? But if they're really my friend and they want to hang out with me or get in touch with me, then they can text me or call me, like if they actually care enough, right? So I'll get off Facebook just to see who my real friends are, right? So that was sort of the weird, like distorted logic that was going on at that time, which is really just, it's all phooey. Like it's really stupid, looking back on it now.
Yeah. We have a friend that he deactivated his Facebook account like a few days before you reactivated yours.
Really?
And I haven't texted him or anything since then. Mm-hmm. It's not like he's not my friend. It's just like, I don't want to bother you. I don't need anything from you. You don't need anything from me.
Right. Well, I mean, it's...
it goes both ways, though.
There's no way to know, really, why he did it. But, it's... Even if we're not... speaking for myself only, even if I wasn't conscious of it, depressive people, they tend to isolate themselves. That's just what they tend to do. So... whatever sort of logic I wanted to give it at the time, it doesn't really matter. I did what depressive people do. After the fact, I sort of justified it as like, the whole Snowden thing and like, I don't want my whole life to be tracked and whatnot. But, so I had these weird justifications for it after the fact that I would tell people. It's all just BS really, because like I still had a phone, like... You can't have a smartphone and also be one of the people that thinks like you don't want the government tracking you, because it's like it's just not possible if you have a smartphone. So, or if you have a Gmail or you use Google Maps or any of those things.
Yeah, right. When you download Snapchat, you allow Snapchat to see your entire contact list and all of their phone numbers.
Right, and
nobody cares.
Nobody cares. The number of apps that you give that permission to actually is very crazy.
We're working on a SmarmBros app that does exactly that, and it'll actually text all of your friends without your permission to check out our app. That's not really happening, but
and
we should do that.
It says that in the fine print that you will agree to without reading, so you have nothing you can do about it.
I actually had a friend who, like, I got a text, like, it's not even a friend, it's like somebody who added me as a contact through work. Like, it's in Portland, and I hand her my card, and I'm like, here, call me if you need anything for work, right? And she adds my contact info, and then I get a text from her a couple of days later. I'm like, and the text says, "You check out this video I just did on this app." And I'm like, okay, I can't get that app. And she's like, oh, it just texted every single one of the people in my contact list. And I was like, whoa, that must suck. Scary stuff, man. But if I were to make a SmarmBros app, that's exactly the kind of shit that I would do.
Of course.
It'd be the smarmiest thing to do.
Yeah.
Like, seriously.
But
sorry for that tangent.
No,
continue.
Hey, I appreciate your insight. You're great.
So you were trying to disconnect yourself from technology, and was this during the yurt phase and stuff?
Yes.
Is that the same kind of thing? Is that a phase, or is that still something you kind of aspire to?
It's
and you could explain to the listener who has no background in that.
Sure. I have this strange fascination with a sort of off-grid hermit lifestyle, which, again, when I was chronically depressed, was a lot more attractive to me than it is now. But there's still something about it, I think, of getting back to sort of an old-timey sort of lifestyle, where it's like, your day is filled with chopping wood and like hunting for the next deer and going to the well to get water. And I don't know, it's something sort of an idea, living out in nature and not having any electronic devices around. I still am sort of attracted to that, but it's not, I feel like it's more of a vacation thing now as opposed to a wanting to make that my life. But I don't really know. I feel like I could still really enjoy and be satisfied with life. Only now I wouldn't want it to be an in isolation sort of thing. I would want to still have contact with other people while doing that. Or have a family and do it.
We have a family member that did just that. And I don't know if you remember Travis Renshaw.
Yeah.
So he recently moved out to eastern Washington, to the middle of nowhere, like 100 miles north of... I don't know if you know anything about this. So.
I just saw some... I just was looking at his Facebook profile and saw some of the pictures and saw him as the owner-operator of...
We have a family member that moved out. So he had a variety of jobs in the city as a maintenance guy, as a kind of curator and that kind of stuff. And now he moved out to the middle of the countryside to raise grass-fed cattle and live on a farm. And he has 3 kids and 2 on the way. So he definitely has some farm hands ready to go when the time comes.
I know. I was thinking
it's actually kind of impressive. Like,
I was thinking I might ask him if I could lease a portion of his land to put the yurt on,
That wouldn't be a bad idea necessarily, you know what I mean? So, but I have a lot more respect for that now than I would have maybe 10 years ago. I'd be like, that's the stupidest idea I've ever heard or whatever, but now I'm much more open-minded. I still want to do the Silicon Valley thing at some point in my life.
Well, I mean, now you have you have a serious need for grass-fed beef, so,
That's mostly what it is. Like, I just want to mooch off him and get it at a discount or whatever.
Right. Help him butcher it.
I'm already spending $8 a pound on that stuff, though, so I'm already getting a pretty good deal, I think. So, one of the things lately with my fasting, we were talking about that earlier, is I realized...
I remember that.
Yeah, hopefully. I realized that, like, if food is too expensive, I'll just, like, not eat part of the month. So, you know what I mean? So if I can't afford to... If I ever say to myself, like, oh, I can't afford, $22 a pound for this. Well, I can't, I can afford $8 a pound. So if I eat every 3 days, I can afford the $22 a pound because I'm spending 1/3 the amount of money on food, which it seems kind of crazy to you right now. And I can tell in your face and your long, loud, accentuated breathing.
You've got no idea what's going on in my head.
Crazy.
So just stay in your own head.
Don't comment on what I know. You don't know what I know, and I don't know what you know. But the main thing to keep in mind is, like...
I know that you can't read my thoughts, so I can pretty confidently say that.
I've kept a food log, and I can pretty comfortably eat every 3 days if I need to. In fact, I may try... So one of the podcasters that I listen to... His goal for the year of 2016 is to actually fast, meaning not eat anything, more days in the year of 2016 than he eats. So he's gonna, if a month is 31 days, he needs to at least fast for 16 of those days. In other words, per month. So however he arranges that, totally cool or whatever. And I think he's going to be able to achieve that goal. Because in the month of January, he's only eaten like 3 or 4 days. So I definitely think it's possible. But at the same time, like, I do enjoy eating, but eating is no longer for me like a comforting thing. Like, it's not like it's something that, makes me happy. The fact that's a weakness, in my opinion, actually. When you think about it, it's just nourishment, it's just nutrition, it's just calories or whatever. So
that's kind of the idea behind the Soylent. Have you heard of that?
Yes, the flavorless or whatever powder or whatever. It's just like nutrition, The problem
nutrient paste.
Yeah, the problem with Soylent is I just don't agree with the nutrient profile they've decided on. It's just way too high in carbohydrate and stuff. So hopefully they make different versions of it or something.
Well, you can make your own too.
So I do. It's called eggs and grass-fed beef and vegetables. Really, no. Lately,
powdered and in a smoothie.
Yeah, so since May, I've lost around 70 pounds, and I really the starting theme for me was like eat more vegetables. Eat more fucking vegetables and figure out... I don't like vegetables. I like 3 vegetables. I like lettuce, I like tomatoes, and I like bell peppers, and that's it. I like potatoes.
I buy these bags of these little sweet peppers. I love them
No, I know. I can't eat those anymore because they're too high. They're higher in calorie, they're higher in carbohydrate. I love those, though. Once I'm really thin, I'll eat those again. And that's kind of... So the thing is those won't make you fat, but those won't make you lose weight either. You know what I'm saying? So, but they taste better. But I don't really eat bell peppers very often just because, for me at least, like... So the other thing I learned was, do you know what a nightshade is?
Yeah.
So nightshades are potatoes and tomatoes. And, like, I love nightshades. But apparently, like, nightshades can be, like, bad.
It's one of my
types
favorite metal
vegetables.
bands.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Nightshade.
Are they on YouTube? Do they have a Vivo account?
Yeah.
No, anyways, I did an experiment for a few weeks where I, like, cut out nightshades and I didn't feel anything. Like, I didn't feel any different at all. So I'm going to start eating nightshades again. But, I don't know, maybe I need to cut them out for a month or two, you know what I mean? So 2016 is all about experimenting for me. It's about, like, really, by the end of this year, I'm going to find what works for me. And I'm going to be, by the end of this year as well, I'm going to be at a much more normal weight than I'm going to be healthier in my 30s than I was in my 20s. That's kind of what I'm telling myself. So in order to do that, though, like, it's going to be pretty involved in figuring all this kind of stuff out, man.
Yeah, definitely lots of talking about it on the podcast.
well, we were talking about grass-fed beef, because we were talking about moving out to the middle of nowhere and disconnecting from technology and stuff.
We're talking about Facebook.
Well, I mean, we were talking about vodka at the very beginning of the podcast, so let's go back to that. But no, and I think that, so, like, one of the things about beef, normal beef versus grass-fed beef, or normal butter versus grass-fed butter. So for 2 months, I cut out regular butter and I only did grass-fed butter. And then I reintroduced it for a month and I felt like shit. And that was the only thing that I changed. So it's all about changing variables and, like, seeing how you feel and stuff. But I think 5 years ago, 2 years ago, I would have, like, laughed at the whole prospect of, like right before you decided to do your thing or whatever, I would have laughed at the prospect of, like, wanting to go into the middle of nowhere and be self-sufficient. But realistically, like, that's becoming more and more of an option, especially for our generation, just because, like, a shitty house in a nice area is $600,000.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's ridiculous. That's not worth it. It's not. Shitty houses aren't even worth $200,000. Our parents paid $120,000 for a massive 4-bedroom house not massive, but I mean, like, a really nicely sized 4-bedroom house. And at one point we had 8 people living in the house. You know what I'm saying? $120,000, and that was less than 20 years ago. And now that same house would cost like $500,000-$600,000 for no reason. Like, there's not, I mean, population growth hasn't been so high such that it would warrant a price increase of that. It's just like, real estate has artificially increased its price that much in the last 20 years because of the housing crisis that happened with the loan thing. And
thanks, Clinton.
It happened under Bush, but yeah.
Clinton put in the policies that made it possible.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, I had no idea. See, I'm not that I'm watching politics now, but at
I don't
that
know
time,
if that's true. I read that on a headline on Reddit. So.
Yeah. So I mean,
I believe everything I see on Reddit.
Well, he could have, like, the loan policies for balloon loans or whatever could have totally, like, been something that he put into place.
Pretty
or whatever.
sure. You know what, listeners? Look it up. But I'm pretty sure it was Clinton.
This isn't for, I'm just going to put it on the record and say that this podcast is, like, you don't take it seriously.
Disclaimer.
Like, there's no, if you fact check us, we just won't care. Like, I won't care. Will you care? The fact they're taking so long to answer this. Yeah, so, I mean, I seriously, like, this isn't a factual podcast. We may have the factual podcast, and that'll be called, like, Serious Bros. Or something.
Can we just start that one?
Or Fact Bros. So the SmarmBros, it's all about just like, well, it's a stream of consciousness type thing, you know, which is why we've talked about so many stupid topics and then so many serious topics. And
why
all
we
that
go
kind of
off
stuff.
on tangents that become more than tangents and never get back to what we were talking about before.
Well, what we were talking about before was like yurts. So why don't you tell everybody about yurts?
How did we get on the yurts? We got on the yurts because we were talking about Facebook, right? And about
you taking like a Facebook fast.
Yes.
Like we're talking about me fasting from food, but you took a Facebook fast.
Yes.
For about 3 years.
Yeah.
And it's all due to your due to your depression that caused you to want to disconnect from technology and all that kind of stuff. So, continue.
Getting back on Facebook has been a really positive experience so far. You know, there's plenty of articles out there that talk about how people that are on Facebook are more depressed and like they worry about other people more and it causes them to be less satisfied with their lives and all this stuff. But hasn't really been my experience since getting back on, you know. I've actually had nothing but really like positive things happening. You know, the people have been really digging my my status updates, and it's you know got
getting lots of likes.
Not even likes, but like in-person likes. Like someone at work will see my status update and they will approach me in person in Meet Space and say, "Hey, I really liked that status update. Thank you." And that's so much more like satisfying than a like on Facebook.
I ran into Tom Quayle last week, and Tom was like, "How's your brother doing?" Like what the first thing he asked me was, "How's my brother doing?" And I'm like, "He's really good."
Really?
Yeah. So
I must have left an impression.
Well, yeah, you need to go back to NAMM again, obviously, and just hang out with Tom.
I saw
because I hanged out with Tom a couple of
I saw the picture of you with Tom Quayle.
Yeah. Well, I took a picture with him, but we hanged out a little bit at the show and stuff, and he's just a great guy, you know, obviously. But like,
I mean, his name is Tom Quayle.
It's kind of awesome. He's having a baby.
Oh, good for him.
Yeah,
a lot of people are doing that. It seems to be really in right now.
And he and I talked about like Reddit and social justice warriors and feminism and a bunch of just fun stuff. Just greatly fun stuff.
Just on that, if you're not subscribed to subreddit Tumblr in Action, subscribe now if you want to see the sort of crazy shit that's going on in these people's minds.
And I'm not going to oust Tom or anything, but I'll just say that, you know, somebody very close to him, he described her to me as a social justice warrior that is totally into the Tumblr thing. And
what does she identify as? What kind of kin is she?
Oh my god.
Is she the other kin?
So it's so funny you mentioned that because he had some word that I'd never heard of, and I need to reach. I'm going to send him a link to listen to this, and hopefully he gets to an hour and 21 minutes in where he hears this part of it, and he can like send me, you know. But she identifies as some weird thing, weird word that doesn't exist anywhere.
You've got to check out Tumblr in Action on Reddit. It's called this is a phenomenon called otherkin, where people believe that they are either animals, like some people will say like, I identify as homosexual, or like it'll
transsexual, or whatever.
Or you've got that crazy lady who was the head of that chapter of the NCAA, who was a white lady that like dyed her skin and she identified as black, right? There are people also, though, that it's like, I identify as the character Bambi from Disney's Bambi, or I identify as a Star Destroyer from Star Wars.
So he told me what she identified as, and I'd never seen like a more horrified look on a man's face.
As he said it?
He said it, and then there was this really awkward pause, and I just stared him in the eye for a good like 10 seconds straight, and then I said, "I'm so sorry for your situation," like because it's somebody pretty close to him, but at the same time, like it could be a phase that person's going through or whatever. So
see the issue that this brings up, and this is another issue with technology and how we're going to deal with it as time goes forward, is that people have the ability now to, if you have a certain point of view on the world, you have an ability to curate the information that you're exposed to so much to the point that you've sort of formed this reality bubble around yourself where you're not exposed to any ideas that conflict with what your ideas are, even if they're the most batshit crazy, stupid, bad for humanity ideas that could exist. And after you do this for a certain amount of time, these ideas get reinforced so much over and over that you're just like, you're living in a fantasy world. And then anyone who's like, hey, reality's over here, they're trying to oppress you, right? And then anytime you get oppressed, I'm doing air quotes, quote, oppressed, then you have this community of other people in this sort of altered reality bubble that you can go back to that will reinforce all of your disgruntledness. So,
I'm on Reddit right now, and I'm going to subscribe to Tumblr in Action.
Do it. Everyone subscribe to Tumblr
Everything
in Action.
I've heard
if
about,
you want to see what we're talking about, it is the most batshit insane thing that I've ever seen. People who do not agree with evidence or logic, and if you try to talk about factual things, then you are just an oppressive member of the patriarchy. That's basically the gist of it. Check it out. It's barrels of laughs. Just barrels of laughs.
Well, all I will say is I learned about social SJWs, social justice warriors, from the Fat Logic subreddit. So also subscribe to that.
I'd say there's quite a bit of Fat Logic stuff on Tumblr in Action as well. About how doctors are just they're oppressive. They're just oppressive, and they're the patriarchy, and it's not actually true that it's unhealthy to be 400 pounds when you're 15 years old. And the fact that you have to pay extra and stuff because you're fat for any reason is just...
The fact that this person next to me got uncomfortable that my fat rolls were like rolling over the airplane seat like divider into their seat, and they got kind of upset about that. Just makes them, the fact that they didn't like that is oppressive to me as a fat person. They need to accept the fact that I'm just going to invade their space with my fat rolls.
No, one post I remember recently from Tumblr in Action subreddit is this lady on Tumblr who posted about how her doctor is just is like a racist fat shamer because she was told she couldn't have this one surgery done that she wanted to have done or needed to have done because of how overweight she was. And then she got a reply from someone who was an actual surgeon who like very thoughtfully and like respectfully and like really trying to be helpful and honestly not trying to be mean, but just trying to like explain like why it is that it's harder to do surgery on someone who's morbidly obese than on someone who is height weight proportionate. So, it was a really good post, and of course she just called him a bigot and just all sorts of expletives.
This just has to be I don't know many Americans that are this way. Like, how many of these people are American? That's kind of one of my American. Like, that's my question.
Well, the thing is, the people that are this way. The way they're able to get this way is because of how they're able to isolate their points of view and create these reality bubbles on specifically social media. So it's like, you probably know people that are this way, but because you're not following them on Tumblr, it's like they don't say shit like this in meat space, out here in the real world.
I'm subscribed to Tumblr in Action now.
Very good. Yeah, it's...
This vodka's making me feel pretty good now.
It's crazy.
I just gotta say, like, I feel pretty good right now.
Yeah?
An hour and 27 minutes in. Yeah.
That's all it took.
Gonna start to slur my words a little bit or whatever.
Yeah.
6:45 p.m. live.
You got a traffic update?
No, the calendar invite I sent you you were originally supposed to be here at 7 p.m.
Yeah, I know.
7 to 10.
I was actually
And
just
we were
laying
able to start
down.
earlier.
I was just laying down to take a nap at 4:30 until 6:30.
You totally appreciated, I'm sure, my invitation to come over. But, you know, at the end of the day, when you think about it, your sleep tonight will probably be better than it would have been had you taken a nap and then come over and then going back home.
I haven't had coffee for the past 72 hours, so I think that probably has something to do with it. I have a tension headache.
You still have a headache even 3 days after?
Yeah. It's just like right behind the eyes, you know. So just really slight, like low, like That's the sound it's making. It's like But other than that, you know, I felt a little bit tired. That's why I was going to take a nap. But you know, I was given an excuse to get up and get going. So I gotta admit,
sounds good to me. You gotta admit what?
I seriously considered texting you and being like, "I'll see you at 7 because I'm going to take a nap," but I didn't, and now here we are. So, listeners, you be the judge. Should I have taken a nap? Should I have not? Does it sound like I'm alert?
We don't need
here?
a poll on this. This is ridiculous.
I want to do a poll.
There's no reason.
I should be allowed to do a poll. You know what? I'm not gonna call out your impressions, and you're gonna let me do polls.
We can't be doing polls because if we have, let's say we have 11 listeners, statistically speaking, one is going to respond to the poll. This is not fair. It's not fair.
There's no way you can know that until we do.
No,
the
I
poll.
just know what the average response rate in a poll is. And it's less than 10%.
Guess how many people are going to respond to a poll if you shoot down every one of them? 0. There's some statistics
Listeners,
for you.
there's going to be a poll about whether he should have taken a nap or not. Just don't respond. Seriously, just don't respond. If you respond,
I can't believe you're doing this to me.
If you respond, all it means to me is like you took his side, not mine. So I guess at the end of the day, we'll know what the whole deal is. So thanks. Cool. Perfect. Great.
Should we allow polls or should we not? Listeners?
If you're going to do a poll, like, who cares about whether you took a nap or not?
Who cares about your presidential candidate impressions?
I didn't ask for a poll about my presidential candidates.
So what?
I'm serving some more vodka because this is making me
Who cares about your vodka?
I didn't say, listeners, if you'd like to comment on my vodka, blah, 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 blah. So, thanks, Obama. I'm assuming you read and you commented about New Comedy Bang Bang, which is a podcast you and I both love, and a show you and I both love. They're getting unfortunately, you know, Reggie Watts is a great co-host / band director. He's
When's the last time you watched the TV show?
He's being replaced by...
No, you're so wrong right now.
Okay. Is there somebody else? I haven't seen this season.
I can't believe this.
I haven't seen this
You're
season.
Embarrassing yourself right now.
I've skipped this season.
Okay. So, season 4...
Rich knows.
Season 4
Rich, go ahead.
I already started. You don't have to tell me to go ahead after I've already started.
Just keep going. That's what I meant. I meant don't stop and ridicule me for stopping you.
In season 4 of Comedy
But
Bang,
you did it.
in season 4 of Comedy Bang Bang, they did 40 episodes in a year, which is unprecedented. 20 of those episodes had the original band leader, Reggie Watts, who is hilarious and amazing. Reggie got poached by James Corden, this a-hole Brit from across the pond who came over here to have his late night show, and he got Reggie Watts to be his late night companion. And so for the last 20 episodes of last season, they had a new band leader, Kid Cudi, who is apparently a Grammy award winning hippity hop artist.
Pretty good, probably, because
No, he's horrible.
Okay.
He doesn't play an instrument. The music it's not musical. It's 5% of what Reggie brought to the table. That's what Kid Cudi brought to the table. He wasn't even that funny. And I mean, he tried. He tried, sure.
That must have been a pretty good paycheck for Reggie, though. So that's great for him. We give him our blessings.
Listen, I've got no hard feelings about Reggie. More power to him. You know, I'm sure he's great. I watched one 10-second clip of the show he's on where he gets to ask a question of the famous guests, and he asks about artificial intelligence and if it's going to destroy the world or not, and it just makes everything awkward and throws the guests off, and it's great. I love him.
Perfect.
But it was a couple weeks ago when I heard that they were going to be getting a new band leader for season 5, and I was just so happy because I could not think of anyone who I would dislike more than Kid Cudi.
Maybe me.
And
I would be a horrible band leader.
No, you would be way better. No. You would be. Because you can actually like play an instrument and like come up with a random song. That would be cool. So,
let's not oversell it. I may do that later.
I'd love that.
We may figure something out with that, but okay.
But when they announced Weird Al, I was just ecstatic.
You'd already heard about it before I posted?
Yes,
about it, right?
Of course I did.
How, like how many weeks, days? Like how early, like when did you know about it before?
It was announced on Monday, so.
I think that's when I posted about it.
Right, but I heard about it Monday morning because I listened to the CBB podcast when I wake up at 4 a.m. So that's that's when I heard about it because that's when they announced it.
Cool, man.
And
I've season 3 I think is so the 40 episodes, that's season 4.
Yeah.
So I haven't seen any of season 4.
Right.
Because I'm still on season 3, so I fully admit my ignorance, and hopefully I'm exonerated from any judgment and everything. But is season 4 like good overall, or is it like only the first half of season?
To me, the show has become something other than it was to begin with. Where basically, like every episode is like a parody of something. Like every episode has a gimmick, like big time.
We'll see if they change with the new season.
Which it's still not. It's not. It doesn't ever get into the territory of bad, but it doesn't quite have the magic and the spark of the first couple of seasons.
I have two major takeaways from Comedy Bang Bang. I'm not obviously it's like in your top. It's one of your favorite podcast shows of all time.
For years.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. And it's something that I just kind of dabble in. My two major takeaways from that are James Adomian, number one. Like James Adomian is amazing. Like one of the most hilarious people ever. And then the Don DeMello guy.
Andy Daly.
Hilarious.
Which I'm pretty sure you still haven't seen Review, have you?
I've seen like one or two episodes of Review.
Review with Forrest McNeil.
It's
another
I should probably
extremely amazing show. It's the most brilliant show on Comedy Central.
And Andy Daly was in an episode of some show that I watched not too long ago. And I'm trying to remember where it is right now offhand.
He's in this one like hospital show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he plays a doctor in one of the shows that I watched, and it was funny. Or just weird.
Well, he is funny.
Weird. But
I just real quick before we get too far past it, I just want to say there's no one I could think of that might be better than Reggie Watts than Weird Al. I couldn't think of anyone who could possibly bring more to the table to the Comedy Bang Bang TV show than Reggie Watts. But once I heard Weird Al, it was like, obviously, yes. And this is the first time that Weird Al's going to be on a TV show regularly since he had his children's show in the
UHS or whatever it is?
No, his children's TV show, The Weird Al Show, in the early 90s.
I saw Weird Al live a few months ago. I don't know if I told you about this.
No.
He played at the the Washington State Fair Center.
Yeah, he
formerly known as the Puyallup Fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, he played the Puyallup Fair, and he like referred to it as a Puyallup Fair, and like to spite them. And it was just amazingly, hilariously perfect. Like there was one segment where he went out into the audience and he was like seducing all the female audiencees. And I just thought that was funny because it's Weird Al. You know, he's kind of
the sexiest man alive. Yeah.
Yeah. yeah. Let's just go with that. And I agree with you. I think he'll be.
I can't think of a better fit, especially if you've heard. He's been on every season of the TV show. Sometimes as a guest on the couch, sometimes as a character.
He's been on a bunch of like weird shows, like Tim and Eric. You know what I mean? So it's like it's sort of an obvious transition for him.
He's in that wheelhouse.
Yeah. Exactly. But I definitely believe that the Comedy Bang Bang thing, it's a good show. It's a good podcast. It's a good TV show. If you're listening and you haven't heard anything about it, and you like that, you like comedy, you'll discover things that you've never discovered before.
And it's hit or miss. So if you listen to an episode of, I'd say it's best to start with the best of compilations, because it's got Scott and Paul F. Tompkins in the studio setting up the clips and messing around, a cappella singing the Star Wars Cantina theme over and over again.
Silicon Valley. That's where Andy Daly plays a doctor.
Oh, nice.
That's right. So another great show is Silicon Valley. Has our friend.
I just saw a picture on Twitter. Henry Phillips is going to have a role on the new next season of Silicon Valley. With his picture on Twitter was they gave him the ponytail he always wished he had.
On the flight to and from Anaheim last week, I watched Silicon Valley season 2 on my tablet.
I started season 2. I don't think I finished it.
And it's funny. It's great. I don't have any criticisms or anything. Like, it's just great. I was
great is a criticism.
Well, no, it's not.
It's a positive criticism.
On the flight, like I was laughing out loud. Every episode I had at least one or two like belly laughs.
So speaking Silicon Valley, speaking TJ Miller's amazing podcast, Cashing In with TJ Miller with Cash Levy on a recent episode. Cash Levy was talking about going on a flight, and he made a mention of what he coined as airplane courage, which is where you can be an asshole and get into arguments with people and really escalate them really far on an airplane without any fear, because if someone gets physical with you, they'll get put on a no-fly list. So you can just he was talking about this argument he got in with the person in the seat next to him on the plane, and he wasn't worried about escalating the argument really far because he had airplane courage.
But won't you both get put on the no-fly list?
No. If someone punches you,
chance,
you're the victim.
There's a chance that you both get put on the no-fly list, though.
It depends on how many people are watching. And he felt confident because he was right in the argument. So, and like the whole plane was watching the argument happen. And he was confident that
somebody was super for murdering babies.
He was confident that everyone was on his side in the argument. So I don't think he was worried about that.
So confidence is key is what you're saying. In any argument. That's why Donald J. Trump is winning. Because he's just like, I'm the best, I'm the greatest ever, and you're all shit.
Donald Jeremiah Trump.
I don't know what his middle, it's probably James or something stupid like that. But the funny thing is his dad's like an immigrant.
Donald Jamiroquai Trump.
And he's like, we need to stop immigrants from coming into this country. And it's like, well, you married an immigrant and you're fucking... Your family within the last 2 generations are all immigrants. Like, calm down, buddy.
Well, I don't think he's talking about legal immigrants.
Well, a friend of mine...
I mean, he wants to build a wall, you know.
A friend of mine on Facebook, I posted like it wasn't anti-Trump, it was like really neutral, but it was like kind of like, you know, Trump is super against immigrants. We should block everybody from Canada from coming into our country. And they got really offended and they said, oh, is Canada the country that we're having a problem with? And I'm like, yeah. Right? Like, what? So what my buddy was saying is, oh, so all Mexicans are... That's where the problems are. Not Canada.
What? You think the drugs are coming from Canada?
Yeah.
You think Canadians... Look, all I can say is I know a lot of Canadian people, and they're great. But we gotta stop rapists from coming into our country. And all of Canada, look, I'm not saying that they're all rapists, but if I were Canadian, I'd probably rape somebody.
That's the kind of shit he would say.
It's growing on me, your Trump impression.
It's funny. Well, like, it's not my impression. It's just like, Trump is funny. Like, he has the greatest, he's the best, like, our future generations are going to study, like, Trump speeches for, like, debate club.
He's the smarmiest.
Because he's so good at, like, making, like, if you're not really smart and you're not really, like, focused on exactly what he's saying, you'll be like, oh, yeah, I feel that way.
I think it's just
I see what he's saying.
I think it's just an example of like, pure confidence, like, overriding the words that are actually coming out of your mouth. And, like, your confidence is being conveyed more. Because the shit he says is insane, but he's so confident that it's just like, yeah.
There was this controversial tweet that he did recently. It was like, it was something like, the media is saying that Erin Andrews is a bimbo, but if I were to say something, it would be that she's an unprofessional journalist or something like that. But the media isn't saying that she's a bimbo. It's like, it's him. Like,
I really love that Trump calls people losers.
Right?
He's like, yeah, well, he's a loser. I think he referred to someone as a known loser before, like a couple weeks ago.
No, again,
a known loser.
All of my Republican friends, they love Trump. They, like, adore him.
All of Republicans love Trump.
And there's some questioning as to whether he appeals to, like, traditional conservatives and stuff like that. But for me, it's just like,
which candidate is the black guy who...
Ben Carson.
Yeah, Ben Carson, who said that the pyramids were made to store grain.
Yeah. Well, he's not really doing well in the polls anymore.
All I really know about the political candidates on either side are what I've seen from recent SNL sketches.
I watch The Daily Show now, so I know everything about politics, apparently. Like, it's just like, The Daily Show has been one of the best things, like, ever since... So Jon Stewart left The Daily Show, and I watched The Daily Show for, like, the first year when Jon Stewart was on, and then I never watched it, and then I watched it for the last couple weeks of Jon Stewart, and I'm watching it again with Trevor Noah, and the writing's really good now, and it's really hilarious, and it's really fun, but it's like... The reason it's really good and really fun is because Donald Trump is running, and Ben Carson's running. Ben Carson, who looks like he's, like, about to take a nap every single time he speaks.
Yeah, that was the gag on SNL.
Yeah,
Have you seen the SNL
And it's
skit?
Amazing. It's so accurate and perfect.
The SNL skit for the Democratic debate, they got Larry David to play Bernie Sanders.
Yeah, and because he looks exactly like Bernie, and he's basically he's going to be hosting SNL here pretty soon. And he's probably going to do a Bernie.
Someone on my Facebook posted a compilation of Bernie Sanders speeches throughout the years of like 30 years of Bernie Sanders speeches, and I just had one comment, which was 30 years, not a single comb. Literally every single.
Why the hell are we talking about people's hair?
Yeah,
America is at a crisis right now. That's what he would say.
I know.
And that all just clipped really hard.
That's
really
all right. People love the Bernie
Sanders.
The
middle class is disappearing, and here we are talking about people's hair. Yeah. No, this year's hilarious just because, I mean, I'm not a super political person, but I do... This is just the most interesting year in politics ever, just because we have all the front runners on the Republican side. None of them are politicians. Like, Ben Carson's a surgeon. He's never, ever been in office.
Another good podcaster, Jesse Case, who has the Jesse versus Cancer podcast, he described the GOP candidates as a supervillain contest.
I just think that the Republican Party is just so out of touch. Like a Democrat is going to win, but unfortunately, there's like 3 Democrats to choose from. So there's not there are 20 Republicans to choose from, and they're all horrendous, horrible, ridiculous. So, not that I'm Democrat or Republican or anything, but and I like Bernie Sanders a lot. Like I do. I just know that
I vote for Robo President.
Why is that?
Because he's we know that he's programmed. He's not trying to pretend that he's not programmed like all these other shills.
Like he'll actually do what he says when he gets into office. Okay, yeah. All right, I vote for Robo President too.
Thank you.
We're the SmarmBros officially endorse Robo President 2016.
People, go in, respond to the poll. Robo President for president, yes or no?
Let's turn my mic down so that I'm not so crazy loud when I shout. Even when I shout, though, it gets pretty loud, so I'll have to put a limiter on my voice.
Shout.
Shouting's fine.
Right.
When I get emotional and when I get...
I told you I have a headache, right?
I don't think you've said that at all, actually.
I said I had a tension headache due to not drinking coffee, so...
okay, and like
go
the
back
last
to the
10
recording.
minutes you said, okay, yeah. We've been doing this thing for like an hour and 50 minutes, so it's like, we at least had an hour and 40 minutes of me yelling and screaming before you said anything, so... I'm sorry. I'll do my best to not yell and scream, but...
Thank you.
I can't make any guarantees.
You're great.
Thanks.
Oh,
yeah, you're great?
Thank you.
Yeah. I hope that wasn't too insincere sounding.
I've gotten used to adding my own sincerity to it when you don't step up to the plate, so that's all right. That's part of being your brother.
At the end of the day, I'm a pretty ridiculously insincere person.
Oh yeah, I know.
And the fact that you know is of no surprise to me. You know what I mean? I wonder if everybody feels that way.
About you?
Yeah.
Probably.
No. I imagine I'm...
Just the people that don't know you that well?
I imagine I'm duping over 80% of the people I know.
Well, not anymore. They're going to listen to this.
The 11 people that listen to this, 5 of which are your D&D friends, right? Or whatever.
I doubt they'll listen.
You can force things on people pretty easily.
I can give
you so many strategies to do that.
I'm not interested in that. You know what? It's going to go up on Facebook, and then that's going to be that.
So we don't even have a website yet. We don't even have it. We don't have any. Well, we do have a website, but there's nothing there.
You don't need a website to have a podcast.
Here's the thing, though. It's just so... We got to be professionals about this whole thing.
We don't have to.
We need to be professionals about this whole thing.
The podcast can be released without stuff before it.
What's probably going to happen is we release the first 4 shows, and then the website's ready, and it looks good, and it feels good, and people can download it, and we get everybody to listen to everything.
But people don't go to a website to download podcasts. They go to iTunes, or they go to Stitcher, or Podcast Addict. They get them through apps. They don't go to the website. So
well, eventually
that's
we'll have
why that's why the website doesn't really matter.
Well, sure.
To begin with.
What you're saying is people listen on their phone now. They don't listen from the website. And I get that. But so we'll have to upload to SoundCloud or something at some point, right? Or whatever. We have to figure out a distribution method that makes sense for everybody or whatever. The website is important just because podcasts are really about advertising and marketing.
Listen, I'm not saying that the website's not important. All I'm saying is that it's not a necessary thing that we need to have before we can be releasing the podcast.
Number 1, I get what you're saying. Totally agree. So, like,
that's good.
On podcast 100, I agree. Even it doesn't really matter. Once we get to 200,
I appreciate that you're considering things in the present and not with some future mind.
No, I'm only considering the future. That's all I think about at all times in life these days. But like, we do have to be thinking about, like, so we start a podcast, we start talking, we develop an audience, we cultivate a following, who would follow this kind of bullshit, first of all? But thank you for listening.
Thank you for listening.
Listen, you're great. You're listening to our podcast. You're amazing. You're the best person ever. But if I were to say anything...
you need to get a life.
Yeah. You've already been listening almost 2 hours. What are you doing with your life?
I hope you work it out.
That can be like a thing that we
clean
do.
Your kitchen.
That can be like a thing we do. We just like berate our listeners like throughout the show, like in a positive way. Though it's like,
you could be doing other things right now, like donating to charities and taking care of your kids instead of like sitting there and letting them play video.
Donald, this is the problem. Donald, is that the great thing about podcasts and audiobooks is that it is the thing that allows you to be doing other things while you are listening. Yeah. That is the whole point. Like, hardly anyone just sits there and listens to a podcast,
Look, podcasts are great, but if I were listening to just talk radio the whole time, I would want to be watching a video. So let me just tell you right now, if I'm elected president, all podcasts are going to be converted to video, and they're going to be outsourced from China into the United States.
He literally said something
Thank you, Donald.
Yeah. So I love Donald. I love Donald Trump because he's provided so much great material. But the other thing too is like he's incredible at like getting people to like just like listen to like segments of stuff that he says and be like, yeah, or whatever. So like he said recently about Apple, like,
look, if I'm elected president, I would get Apple to move all of their manufacturing to the United States to produce more American jobs.
And everybody's like, woo! Woo! Like, he's not going to be able to do that. Like, how are you going to do that? So he says that. Now, how do you do that?
Yeah, but, I'm not trying to defend Trump here, but it's not any more outrageous than any of the other campaign things that any of the other candidates say about, I'm going to do blank. It's like
might be right.
If people's thought process extended as far as how are you going to do that, then no one would be listening to any of the candidates about anything they say.
We're going to have healthcare for all, and we're going to tax past the $200,000 line, where billionaires and millionaires are going to pay more tax now than they're paying currently.
I love your peaking Bernie.
He does. He is loud. That's true. He's loud and proud. We have got to tax the top 10%, and then we've got to tax the top 1% a different amount.
I think it's because the listeners can't see this, but part of your Bernie impression is a posture where you hunch forward, which brings you closer to the microphone.
I have to, in order to do any impression, I have to like look like the person.
No, yeah, that's how you get into it. That's a real thing.
Look, the main problem with America right now, he does this thing with his hands too, where he raises his hand like he's about to ask a question, but it's like he's like swatting at flies at the same time, like. America is in a crisis right now. The middle class is disappearing. Yeah. So, Trump is hilarious, though, like, because he's like,
look, I don't care what you think about me, but I'm just going to say stuff.
And Republicans are like, I love that he's so honest and he has no filter, but is, like, having no filter really presidential?
It would be a nice change of pace, honestly. It would be a nice sort of...
So you're pro-Trump?
I'll just come out and say it, guys. I'm pro-Trump. I mean, what am I going to say? You got me. I just think it's really nice to have someone who says what they mean. He doesn't have speech writers. He doesn't have publicists and PR people. I mean, that's pretty obvious. But, isn't it refreshing to just have someone who's gonna like real talk? You know, that's why I like to listen to who's the guy on Fox News? What's his face?
You're joking around, right? You're just messing with me right now. We're re-icing. Gotta re-ice. Gotta stay hydrated and, you know,
Let me see
ice.
that bowl. Let me see that ice bowl.
This is it's from Costco, and it, so one of the things that I do now, and one of the things that I like to do is I like to make what's called a BAS. And I say BAS, and BAS stands for Big Ass Salad. And a Big Ass Salad is... You feeling pretty good from that? So for the listeners, he's holding the ice bowl against his head. It's not that warm in here or anything, but it must be refreshing,
feels
right?
so nice.
It's like taking an ice bath. So this bowl is pretty large. It's like the size of like 2 or 3 heads, like together. 2 or 3 person heads of people. And... You take like 2 heads of romaine and you like chop them up and you put them in the bowl and then you add other
It's like
vegetables.
3 Indonesian child heads.
Yeah, you basically you make a salad. You make a salad that should feed like 3 people and then you eat it by yourself.
I just bought some ingredients to make a BAS today.
BAS. It's what's for dinner, or lunch, or breakfast. Doesn't matter because you're only going to eat 1 meal a day.
Yeah, or the 1 meal you have for the next 3 days, right? Yeah, well, everyone, I just want to say, really appreciate you coming on this journey with us. This is going to be, I think, a really fun relationship that we have. Make sure to check out the polls, the polls that I set up. I definitely want everyone to respond to the polls. Don't listen to what Charlie says about the polls. They're important. I know that more than 10% of you are going to respond to them. And I know that because I have visualized it and I'm using positive thinking to actualize that
everybody.
in
We have
reality.
an emergency. We're out of vodka. Or there's like a teaspoon.
And that's sort of where I'm going with this, Charlie. That I think we're going to have to wrap this up because the vodka's gone.
No, I have to drink through this whole thing. We have at least. I mean, this. I'm already a good, ladies and gentlemen. I'm already good. Like 4 drinks in. Like we got some time. I'm going to nurse this a little bit, and we'll just kind of keep going till we're
I
comfortable.
don't have any.
You have mineral water and lemon.
But that's not.
Is there anything wrong with that?
Well,
it's healthy.
I definitely can't say anything
Healthy
bad
food.
about mineral
Ew.
water because I don't want to invoke your wrath.
No, you can.
But
I'm not a stickler about any of this stuff, man. Like, you can eat and drink whatever you want to drink and eat.
ladies and gentlemen, head to the polls. Is Charlie a stickler? Yes? No? What are your thoughts?
At the end of the day, I do believe that, like, I've made some pretty extreme, like, decisions in my time in the last year or two. And I don't think that many people are, like, able to, like,
So decision
stop
1.
eating X or stop drinking X. Like, I tell my friends what I'm doing, and I'm like, look, I changed 8 things at once. And they all tell me,
Oh, I could never do that. I could never give up bread.
And then you're like, shut up. Yes, you can.
I could never give up bread,
but, like, giving up bread was, like, super easy. Like, I don't even crave bread anymore. Or, like,
oh my god, I could never give up spaghetti.
I don't like this.
and like,
I don't like...
and I'm like, I never want spaghetti anymore. Like, I'm just like, what the hell, man? You don't like what? Me making fun of people?
It's not about making fun. It's about... It's about...
You need more lemon.
Yes.
We could take a break if you
No,
need to take
no,
a
no,
bathroom
no.
break or anything. Like,
Just let me say what I'm going to say.
podcasts can be like, you can cut them into little spots.
Listen to me.
Okay, continue. Sorry.
It's not about making fun of people. It's about that basically right now you're saying that anyone who can't do what you did is just like a weak loser.
No, I don't feel that way at all. I don't feel that way at all.
Well, you're you're saying like, I don't know why other people can't do it. I did it. It was easy. So why can't anyone do it? It was basically your tone just now. Like, so, I mean, if you don't recognize that, that's how you came off just now.
Look, losers, I love them. They're great. They're great people. There are losers out there.
Someone needs to make the sandwiches, right?
Look, someone needs to go and change my oil when I'm at Pet Boys, okay? Losers are great. I'm not going to change my own oil.
I'm just going to buy a new car.
It's not me, Rich. It's not me. It's Donald Trump speaking. Come on, man.
You're impersonating too much. His personality's bleeding over.
It's becoming me. It's becoming...
Oh, my God. Here we are at SmarmBros. I'm Donald. This is Rich. Rich, you're
Donald
great.
Jacob Trump.
You're amazing, Rich. You're amazing. But here, listen. We're going to build a wall
Mr.
between...
Trump.
We're going to build a wall between me and you on this table right here. Okay,
I love how
see
real
this
you
table?
are, Mr. Trump.
And you're going to pay for it, and you're going to thank me later.
It's Donald Trump.
Anyway, all I was trying to say was that, you know, just from the point of view of a person, you know, who has tried to stop eating bad foods and failed at it on multiple occasions, hearing someone else say, well, I did it and it was super easy, is 0% helpful.
Oh, no, it wasn't easy. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I never said that. If I said that...
You totally did. We can go back on the recording.
It's
and
easy for me.
You just said how easy it was.
Well, now it is. But, like, I changed the way that I ate, like, 5 years ago. So it's like... What I'm saying is, like, now I don't crave this
use the
shit
word
anymore.
easy. Like,
now it's
several
easy
times.
not to eat pasta, and now it's easy not to eat bread, sure. But, like, 5 years ago, like... you know, the main thing is like you make a change and you like stick with it and you stick with it 100%, and that's not easy for most people, which is why like diets fail. You know what I mean? So like diets 90, 80, I don't know what the percentage is, but like most of the times like going on a diet fails.
All I'm trying to say is that the advice you just gave of quote, you make a change and you stick with it 100%, end quote, and you just do that. Again, that's not helpful at all, right? Like,
no, it is.
It logically follows, for sure. Of course, if you make a change and you stick with it, that then you will achieve the results you want. Anyone with a third grade education can understand that. But it's not helpful for someone who's struggling with it. Does that make sense?
There will be a point. You know, my point, like I mentioned in the very first hour of the podcast, is I hit 300 pounds and I was fine. I hit 320 and I decided, 320, that's like a weird magical unicorn number. That's when I had to make the change. So everybody has their like unicorn moment, is what I'm trying to say.
For some people, it's their heart attack that kills them at 35. Yeah.
Well, no, some people never achieve that like unicorn sensation of, oh God, I gotta change. And but for me it was, I started reading when I was 300 pounds, and by the time I was 320 I was like, okay, this is unacceptable. So, but then the other thing is the like weight, like the amount that you weigh isn't really as big an indicator as like, you know, oh hey, my mom died of smoking, I'm not gonna smoke, it's not a big deal. Like, I'll have a cigar every once in a while or whatever, but cigarettes are gross and they smell really bad or whatever.
So just to be clear, you don't see what I'm saying.
Well, no, I'm saying that, you know, I don't feel that way. Like, if you change now, fine.
Well, no, I'm saying that what you said is not helpful to people struggling with it. So you're saying that it is helpful.
No.
That's what you mean by you disagree with what I'm saying.
So, this isn't like a serious podcast, but if I were to be serious, I would say that like if you're struggling with your weight or whatever, and you want to make a change, like read about it, figure it out, and then like stick to it 100%. Don't cheat at all. Cheating is not going to help you in the long term.
It's all very, yes, obviously.
Yeah. Well, obvious. I mean, I'm Captain Obvious here, right? But at the end of the day, like, it's easy for me, but I'm 5 years in. You know, when I started out, I did have a lot of problems. Like, up until recently, like so find your food kryptonite is one of the things I like to say. So Superman had kryptonite, right, and it totally debilitates him or whatever when he's around kryptonite. So my food kryptonite,
that's minerals from his home world of Krypton.
my kryptonite lately,
green gemstone,
is it looks green. No, cheese. So like I've eaten cheese up until maybe 2 months ago. And my food kryptonite today is cheese. But I've eaten cheese for the last 5 years and I've lost weight and I felt healthier. Right? So I'm on a mission to be like as fucking healthy as I possibly can be by the end of 2016. I hope to be like kind of ripped, kind of like, you know, Brobot or
You've
like
got the power
fucking
rack.
bench or fucking beach bod or whatever.
You lift, bra?
Yeah, well, like I was saying, like I can, you know, I got a exercise, you know, station over there that I can use. It's called a power rack. But at the end of the day, like it's a step-by-step process. So for some people, you start by, you got to find how you want to start. Like somebody at work is like they're following like a low-calorie diet. That works for them. That may work for Dan. You know, Dan who ate really low calorie and vegan, and he exercised, you know, like several hours per day by riding his bike, right? That wouldn't work for me, right? You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, you got to find your food kryptonite, and if your food kryptonite is dairy, or if it's carbs to begin with, or whatever, like you got to cut that out and just like see how you feel, and if you feel better, stick with it. If you feel worse, like reintroduce a portion of it in the time frame.
And just something I have to add: if you find yourself stress eating or eating to make yourself feel better, therapy is way more helpful for that sort of problem than food.
You and I have a friend that he will binge eat because of like emotional like reasons, like emotional stress and stuff like that.
I still do it from time to time.
Like he will eat until he vomits because he's so stressed out due to like his interactions with like a female, or like, you know, he has a negative interaction with like a friend or a coworker or something, and it'll just cause him to binge eat and that kind of stuff. I binge eat and binge drink every once in a while too, but it's like 99%. But I have problems, and a lot of people do have problems as well. But at the end of the day, like, you know, I'm pretty good now about sticking to my plan 95% of the time. In another 5 years, I'll be able to stick to my plan 100% of the time. Won't be a problem.
Mindfulness meditation is another much more useful method for handling stressful situations, even in day-to-day life also.
What is that?
Much more than
explain to
eating.
Everybody what like mindfulness meditation is versus like other types of...
So with meditation, there's multiple kinds. I don't even know all of them. One of the most sort of stereotypical sorts would be mantra meditation, which is you picture the guy, you know, sitting down with his legs crossed, doing the om, om, and the om would be the mantra in that case, where you have a word or phrase or sound that you're just repeating over and over again, and you're using that as the sort of anchor of your focus. The whole idea behind any sort of meditation is that you've got this certain thing that you're focusing on. With mindfulness meditation, the focus is on your breath, the sensation of your breath, the feeling of rising and falling in your chest, filling and exhaling of air in your lungs. It's helpful for me to feel it at my nostrils as well, just going in and out of the nostrils. And you use that as the anchor of your focus. And the whole idea with meditation, whether you're using a mantra or whether you're focusing on, you know, there's focusing on a candle or a picture or a song, or, you know, you can use anything as an anchor of focus. But because of the way our minds work, ultimately, you will start having thoughts that come into your mind. Your mind will wander, and that doesn't mean that you're failing the meditation when your mind starts to wander. What it means is that after your mind wanders, you notice that it has wandered, or you notice that you have had a thought about something, and then you say, okay, I had that thought, and then you let go of the thought and let it pass and bring your attention back to the anchor, which in mindfulness meditation is the breath. So, you know, I think Tim Ferriss uses the example that's really helpful, where it's like if you sit down to meditate for 15 minutes in the morning and you spend 14 of those minutes thinking about a bad conversation you had with your boss the previous day, but, you know, every couple of minutes you spend 5 seconds remembering that you're thinking about that bad conversation and getting back to your breath. That was a successful meditation session. So, and I think as time goes on, the studies are just going to, you know, the scientific evidence of the benefits of mindfulness meditation are already mounting. And I think pretty soon it's going to be something that's just sort of like, it's not going to be this woo sort of thing anymore that's for hippies or whatever. And it's going to be like everyone's going to get it, sort of like they get it in India and in a lot of the Eastern world, that it's like, it's just a helpful thing to cultivate your state of mind.
So my therapist hasn't brought up meditation at all, but like one of my guitar instructors told me he was like really getting into like meditation.
I highly recommend,
10 years ago.
I highly recommend there's an app called Headspace, which I use, and it's, I mean, you can get the foundation pack, which is 10 days, 10-minute sessions, and you can even, and those are free, and you can even just use those over and over again if you want to. I subscribe to it, and they've got like hundreds of hours of, again, not a sponsor, but they've got like hundreds of hours of different meditations.
If you want to be a sponsor,
if you want to be a sponsor, please let me know, because I would love.
SmarmBros.com.
Thank you. Like right now, I'm doing the self-esteem pack, which is a 30-day pack, and it's been pretty helpful. But they've got all kinds of ones. They've got ones for creativity. The
self-esteem pack makes your penis bigger. Thank you.
Thank you for that.
No, it won't. Sorry, but
I mean it well. Make sure you download it.
So check out Headspace. It'll make your penis bigger.
Look, I'm not saying anything bad about Headspace.
Women, it'll make it so that just like your facial tone takes on the tone of the makeup that you would normally apply, so you just look like you have makeup on without having to wear makeup.
Oh, instead of RBF, resting bitch face. Perfect.
Yeah, Headspace. Check it out.
I had my first encounter with RBF like maybe a couple weeks ago.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm surprised you've held out that long.
Well, no, I mean, like, you know, here I am, 29 years old. And
almost 30. Oh,
it's coming around the bend. A month and a few days away from now. But I must have had, like, it's not really a story, so I'm not going to tell it, but yeah, let's just say, like, I encountered my first RBF, like, recently.
Was it an awkward thing where you asked, like, is something wrong? Did you make that problem? Like, how did you discover that it was not an actual upset person, but it was just RBF? I had already
seen this in the wild in movies and TV so many times that it had just been something that was like, oh, yeah. Totally get it. Like, it's cool that you have RBF or whatever. It's almost like a disease, but it's like, you know, I didn't bring it up to the person or anything, but...
So they could have not had RBF. They could have just actually been in a bad mood and angry.
No, I've seen this person multiple times. So, to answer your question, though, yes, they could have been angry every single time, but that is the pure definition.
Maybe it's just
of
you.
RBF.
Maybe it's just you.
No, it's a pure definition of RBF. Like, if you're angry all the time, you have RBF. That's it. Done. End of story. Moving on to the next.
But I think it might just, it's sort of like if a tree falls in the woods and if there's no one there, like maybe it's just you that causes the. No. How do you know?
No.
How do you know?
At the end of the day, like, the conversation isn't about, whether I know or not, or whether she knows or not. All I'm saying is, like, look, as a guy,
I'm just saying.
As a guy, like, observing, like, I'm an observer. Like, I'm like bird watching.
I can just see you having that effect on people. Is
like,
all.
Like, I don't mean to speak lowly of her, but she's a bird, and I'm watching her. I'm a bird watcher. Okay, so if I were a bird watcher, she would have RBF. Done. End of story. On to the next victim. Okay. So
I could see you having that effect on people. Is all.
Well, you've known me forever, but, like. I'm pretty likable.
I know,
like,
you've got your mask dealing with me is different than the mask with others.
Yeah, well, the other thing too is, like, as I get older, like, I'm less and less negative and less smarmy. So this podcast may be a limited type of thing, you know what I'm saying? Like, it might not exist
Or maybe
forever.
it's just going to be an outlet where you will...
like, I'm only smarmy when I'm, like, doing the podcast?
Yeah,
no,
you
totally.
Just channel all of the smarminess.
This particular podcast is totally that. So it's sort of like, at the the end game could result in me, like, only funneling it through this one channel or whatever. But for right now,
so you'll have your Smarm persona on the podcast. That's not actually you. That sounds like a good story. You should go with that.
Well, when I think of, like, Silicon Valley executives and they're, like, presenting their pitch to, like, venture capitalists or whatever, it's like. They're not giving them the whole, 100%, this is me, this is my company. They're giving them the things that they want to hear. But at the same time, like, a lot of those companies aren't being, like, totally they are being transparent, but they're giving the venture capitalists the things that they want to hear, right? And that's kind of where I'm at right now. It's like...
So, like, I'm the venture capitalist? And
No. During this podcast, I'm very neutral, and I'm very, like, I think once you have 4 or 5 vodkas in you, you're like, there's no filter here. It's like there's no filter.
We're nothing. Getting that, yeah.
Yeah. And, I'm slowing my words and
You've
stuff like that.
You've repeated yourself a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, Look, this is me. Oh my god, like, if you're only listening right now, like, this is me. Like, don't fucking judge me. If you judge me, oh my god.
Those of you who have made it this far, just thanks. Like, it's great to see you here at the top of the mountain.
It's not that big of a deal to me this far.
Have a good trip down
he's
the other
thanking
side.
you, but I'm saying, like, if you
Don't
made
listen
it
to
an hour
Charles.
earlier than this, you're
he's not
still listening, and it's sad.
He's
like, you should probably
he's
shut
not
us
in his
off
right mind right
now.
Don't shut us off.
Like, we have another 30, 40 minutes
if you've
left
made
in
it
us.
this far, you might as well stick it out to the end. That's when the big contest giveaway is happening, so make sure you stick around.
We have no sponsors. Who's going to sponsor a contest giveaway? Look, I'll personally ship you a bag of lemons from Costco. If you comment below the post and you say I made it to 2 hours and 21 minutes and 29 seconds.
Now we need to have a keyword for that so that we can actually know that they listen this far.
Hashtag bag of lemons.
There we go.
So if you make that on Twitter or Facebook, we're all set. And did you make an Instagram as well, or?
I didn't do Instagram.
We'll do Instagram at some point. Although, there's nothing more photogenic than the face of radio, as they say. So we'll make one of those too and kind of go from there. And we'll ship you a bag of lemons if you comment with hashtag bag of lemons on the first show around 2 hours 21 minutes. If you made it this far, like, you're gonna get the gift of a lifetime. I'm just saying.
And it's just the first person. It's not like everyone. So, like, act now, you know?
Yeah. No, Will, you're going to be you're not going to be in the Hall of Fame. We will have a Hall of Fame eventually, but you're not going to be there, but you'll be, like, mentioned with the Hall of Famers. The SmarmBros Hall of Famers.
Yeah.
It's the first show. We can't establish a Hall of Fame yet. We don't know who's going to listen and who's not, and who's going to be, who's going to be a fucker, right? Who's going to be somebody who says.
Why did you point at me like that when you said that?
No, I'm not pointing at you. I'm just saying, like, you know what I'm talking about, right? Like, who's going to, like, pretend like they listen, then they're going to comment on our Facebook page, and they're going to be like, "Oh, I know exactly what you guys talked about," but they only made it to like an hour and 45 minutes in. Yeah, whatever. We don't care. Shut up. And you can go to the back of the line.
Listeners, Charlie's just getting a little sassy right now. Don't take it personal. He's got some vodka in him.
Hashtag bag of lemons. All right, first person to give us that hashtag, we will ship you a bag of lemons directly from Costco. The most they it's not even organic. It's like GMO to the max. Like, these lemons are not supposed to
They're altered. They've got salmon DNA.
At the end of the day, like, I've learned from drinking vodka every day since May, every night since May, at least having 1 or 2, shots of vodka, or 3 or 4, that, having some sort of citrus fruit alongside, it completes the process. Am I right?
There's this great guy I work with named Ron. He's from Iran. I call him Iran, and he
big shout out to Iran. We got to share this with him.
Yes,
and we got to.
I don't know if he's on. I don't think.
We'll know if he makes it 2 minutes 24 or 2 hours 24 minminutes. Like, we'll know.
I don't think he's on Facebook, but he's a shuttle driver where I work, and he was telling me about how every night when he gets home, he'll have 5 shots of vodka, and that's how he ends his night, or that's how he starts his night when he gets home. And
like within an hour?
Like back to back. Like, or within...
So a glass of vodka.
Within like 10 minutes or 15 minutes or something. And he's been doing this for years, right? And then recently he told me he was having trouble with... Like he could only get to about 3 shots of vodka before he felt like he couldn't have any more. And he was telling me this like it's a big problem. And he told me he thinks it might be that he needs to switch brands of vodka. And I was like, yes, Ron, that's definitely what it is.
The reason this is really funny to me is kind of morbid, but your friend is awesome, and we got to get him to listen
I love
to this.
him.
We got to get him to listen to this.
I hope we could get him as a guest.
And we got to get him to, like, put this on his iPod while he's, like, shuttle driving people to and from. You know what I mean? We got to get him... We got to... Like, he's an easy sell. Like, come on. Well, you're working, you have your earbud in, or whatever. You can listen. It's not a big deal.
He wears 2 Bluetooths.
Perfect. So my favorite, so our mom passed away a couple years ago or whatever, and my favorite story from her, like, wake or funeral was, like, somebody, like, took her on a date or something, and she ordered, like, a glass of like, whiskey, like an entire glass of Jack Daniels. So she was out on the date on a date with this guy, or maybe it wasn't a date, maybe it was like, you were hanging out, and she ordered, like, an entire glass of, like, Jack Daniels, and she walked to the bartender and was like, "Look, give me, like, an entire glass full of this fucking whiskey." And that's, like, the best, like, you're at a point where, like, 5 shots of vodka, like, your friend, 5 shots of vodka.
Fuck.
You're
Don't
just
give
like,
a fuck.
Like, is he our age?
No, he's like 50, 55.
That's perfect then, because, like, so by the time we're 50, we're going to be like, "Bartender, give me no ice,
an
entire glass full of fucking, Tito's vodka or whatever, or Jack Daniels,
Robo bartender.
Yeah,
please.
Yeah. That'll be 10 years from now or whatever. Yeah. No, I mean, I just think that, like, It's pretty hilarious.
I thought it was
You
great.
know you have a problem when you need more than 3 or 4 drinks, you know what I mean? Like, I'm on my 4th drink now, and I think this is going to be, like, I'm already becoming sort of, 3 sheets to the wind. Like, I've definitely been slurring my words for the last 30 to 45 minutes, but I'm on my 4th drink now, and I feel pretty good.
And that's all that matters.
For the listener, I need to be a millipede. Like, I need to be adaptable. I need to be, like, I need to be ready to strike at any given moment.
You need to be adaptable, like a millipede.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Millipede could be like a fucking, like
that's what you thought
a lion or something. It could be anything, but I'm just
about
thinking,
the
like,
most adaptable animal on Earth, human beings.
Dude, I'm on my, 4th drink, I need to be like a human fucking being,
That would be much better, yeah.
One of the things that was kind of irritating to me is, so at NAMM last week, there was a big, concert happening at a venue, and I decided to, go to that concert. It was so first of all, before I say anything, the convention had a record turnout, 30 to 40% more people than when you and I went, years ago, and that kind of stuff. And I get to this venue, and the line is from the venue, around the venue, into the parking lot. And it's, outside of Angel Stadium. Okay? So it's, a massive line. Insane. And I get there...
Sounds like we're talking about, a major line here.
It's major. And I get in line, and the line is out to the parking lot, and I'm with my friends and stuff. And we make a rule. We say, if we don't get to this point in the line in the next hour, we're going to leave. And we didn't get there, and we left. Okay? But I was just thinking, our generation. We're just impatient. If I would have waited an extra 45 minutes to an hour, I would have gotten in the venue. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but also, you could also just send a drone in, right?
To, hold my spot in line?
No, just to fly into the venue, and it has a camera on it, projects a hologram of you, you can interact.
So what
with
do you
everyone.
think? Do you think they're going to make, well, I don't know what you think, but, they're obviously going to make, laws against drones, doing that kind of shit.
I don't think it's obvious they'll make laws against drones, no. I think that it's very, very probable.
But there'll still be a benefit to seeing it in person, right?
I think it's going to be very probable that you'll have to have some sort of certification or license to have a drone. But the other thing is this period that we're in right now, where the drones need to be piloted actively by a person, that's only going to last for the next couple of years, Very soon it's going to be they'll just fly themselves, and they'll be sort of lowly aware of their surroundings, so they won't run into shit.
Hey, I got a quick question for you. So, did you see that in the last 3 to 4 months, that article about the guy? Might be longer than 3 to 4 months, maybe 6 months. He shot a drone out of his. He shot a drone with a shotgun or something, because it was looking in his daughter's room or whatever.
Well,
what do you think about that?
His thing was that it was over his property, but
yeah,
he lost that, actually.
In the lawsuit or whatever?
Yes, because you don't own the airspace over your property.
But weren't there concerns with FAA regulations, you're shooting up into the sky?
Well, yeah,
you could
that's
hit an
definitely, he
airplane.
definitely was wrong to shoot the drone out of the sky. Yeah,
which is why he lost it. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
And because and also because his argument for why was that the drone was trespassing.
I think it wasn't. I think that maybe you just fucking don't have kids.
Really?
Who cares?
Yeah, just get drones.
Yeah. Just have drones. Just have a bunch of drones.
No, it was really funny. Last month, I went into a Best Buy for the first time in a really long time, and I saw they have a drone section. And they've got, like, at the one end of the section, they've got, like, the for kids drones that are, like, bright colors and, like, shitty and made
cheap.
of plastic and cheap.
Yeah.
And then they've got, like, slowly increasing up through to the, you know, you've got My Little Tommy's drone, and then you've got, like, the teenager drone, and then you've got, like, all the way up to the badass, like, super expensive, high performance, like, adult kid drone. I thought it was really interesting that it's like, you know, you've got to get them into drones when they're young, right?
So on the Gary and Dino show, another show that I love, and hopefully if I were to buy you a subscription, I would hope that you would listen to it because it's hilarious.
I'm already behind on my
Dino.
schedule.
Dino has. He's a big fan of drones, and Gary, like, obviously hates drones. He's like, that's stupid. That's a fucking stupid thing. GaryandDino.com. And Dino started out with, like, a $20 drone.
Yeah.
And the $20, like, a super cheap drone, and it had, like, an audio recorder on it.
Mm-hmm.
And he, like, on the show, he, like, posted, like, the audio recording. It's, like, it's clipping constantly. You can't hear anything. It's, like...
Yeah.
And I imagine, like, he's only going to be satisfied with, like, like, spending $500, $1,000, like... But he's since bought 4 different drones since that one. And he spent, like, $500 or so on the drones. So.
If he's smart about it, he should be able to link them up and have them fly in formation.
I'll let him know about that. Because I don't know anything about drones. I just know one person that has them, I guess. So,
and it's,
I don't own a drone. Do you own a drone?
I don't have one myself because I don't think they're at the point for the type of things that I would want to use them for, which is not just as like a flying version of an RC car toy, which seems to be what most people use them for now. I think that's, they're really in their infancy of their potential for what they will be used for within the coming years. And I think that it's not going to be long before it's going to be like, if you want to be a productive person, you will need to have a drone.
Yeah.
Just to like, it'll
How
be...
long, by the way, as like a question from left field, how long do you think it'll take for people to feel that way?
I'd say 8 years.
8 years.
Yeah.
Okay, so 2024.
Math.
You heard it here first. 2024.
It's on recording.
SmarmBros, the most serious podcast ever.
Predicting the future for you and your little robot babies.
So in 8 years, will SmarmBros still be a thing? Like, people will have transcended to...
Well, no, because we'll be dead,
VR.
right? Because it's in the future.
Yeah. Smarm VR. Well, I'm just saying, like, the podcast might be dead, but, like, the only way you and I will be dead is if we get hit by a bus or, like, some other random occurrence happens.
You're getting pretty fucked up.
No, I'm just thinking,
like it.
No, I'm just... Yeah, I am. I'm definitely super fucked up, but, like, I imagine, like, I had a wave of emotion wash over me because a friend of mine has... a friend or a girlfriend or whatever that had cancer, you know what I mean? So it's like I could have cancer right now and not know about it, and I could be dead in 2 years.
Well, with the fasting though, you should be washing out a lot of the precancerous cells.
At the end of the day, maybe just like it's good for me, right? Just like not like, first of all, and I'm not going to dwell on this for more than like 2 minutes.
Okay.
I'm going to give myself that.
As you look to the clock.
The time. Yeah, look at the time. So, fasting or cutting out as many variables as possible is important to stop for don't smile, it's not funny. to control for like things that cause inflammation and things that cause cancerous growth. So I've been thinking about that. And one of the reasons I've been thinking about that is because a friend of mine who's 30 years old, I'm 29, he's 30, he got diagnosed at 30 with colon cancer. So I have been thinking about colon cancer lately and things I can do to like combat that, or like, sidestep that, or improve my colon health. And I bought a squatty potty. Do you know what a squatty potty is?
I do.
They would be a great sponsor for this show.
Squatty potty show at smarmbros.com. We would love it if
you could email us show at smarmbros, BROS. It would be great because
all right, that's 2 minutes. Anyway, drones. I
use your product and I love it. That's all I'm gonna say. Like, it just without going into graphic detail or being gross, it makes you shit better.
Have you there's like Android Pay and Apple Pay. Does Windows Phone have anything like that they're working on?
Look, the universe doesn't revolve around Windows Phone or Apple or Android or anything like that.
I was not making any connotation of that. I was just asking a simple question.
They have an NFC system for paying for shit.
I just used Android Pay the other day. I got it set up. I like it. I think
so. I don't know what it's called now, but like it used to be called ISIS before ISIS was like a terrorist group that like killed people. I think it's called Soft Card now, but we support that, and Android supports that. But I never used it to pay for anything. Like I've been thinking over the last I'm knee deep in this shit, and it is taking forever for people to adopt these alternate payment styles. Mm-hmm. And only recently have people started using like the chip in your card. Yeah. So this is crazy because you would never expect this, but the first retailer that exclusively used the chip in your card is Walmart. Yeah. So, like, I shop at Walmart from time to time, but they were the first. Like, Whole Foods still, I can swipe my card.
Well, Walmart makes it's not a big deal. Makes sense because they're one of the largest retailers.
I would agree with that, but like, why the fuck hasn't Whole Foods and Trader Joe's switched to the chip in the card? The other retailer that I've used,
Trader Joe's has actually. At least the one in University Place.
Okay, that must have been something fairly recent with me.
Fairly recent.
But I'm sort of the other retailer that's Target has you have to use a chip. So anyway, Walmart and Target, the reason two of the biggest ones, which I think sort of reiterates what you just said. But at the same time, like shouldn't Whole Foods have switched? Like there's no downside to switching because all of my credit cards have the chip in it now. So, anyways, they don't have the soft card or the ISIS payment yet, but it used to be called ISIS. It's not my fault.
Don't call it ISIS payment, please.
Look. There are still vending machines that say ICE on it.
The reason I bring up the Android Pay is it has to do with drones in a sort of roundabout way, and why I'm interested in them is that I think over the coming years we're going to see a consolidation of everything in our wallet, our official government ID, our credit cards, bank statement, all these kind of things. The transition's already happening, but it's only going to accelerate and become more accepted, I think. Especially as, this new generation comes up that doesn't have any of the fears about this new technology. Everything's going to be integrated with your smartphone, and then over time with drones, your smartphone, everything is going to be integrated with your drone as well. So, when you want to go, if you want to go pick up something at Walmart, if Walmart can't deliver the thing to you with their drones, you can send your drone to Walmart to pick something up, right? Like, or you can send your drone to the bank, and at first it'll just have a little screen or a little projector that comes out that has your face on it, where you can be at home and you can be talking to the person there at the bank or wherever you're trying to do business through the drone, right? Communicating that way. And then eventually it'll be like a hologram presence that you can have going around. So while you and you can have multiple drones going around and accomplishing a bunch of things at once. So, I mean, it's just as time goes on, I've said it for a long time, the technology, it has had the effect in history, and it will continue to have the effect of making where our bodies physically are less relevant. And drones are one of the technologies that are going to help realize that.
So the one downside to all of that is currently, so in the year 2016 or whatever, the number one downside to drone technology is the fact that, like, the battery life isn't there yet.
I've already
15 to 20 minutes, right? Like, I don't know what the average battery life is, but
that's only getting better,
from like $100 drone, like it's like 15, 20 minutes. Well, no, exactly. But how long is it going to take to get to 24 hours or whatever?
Well, even if it doesn't ever get there, I've already thought of a solution to that, which is a business idea. And you, being an entrepreneur, might be interested in this.
Charlie Sonashi. Charlie at Charlie Shaughnessy.
Where's the business card?
SHAUGHNESSY.com.
Gamer, producer,
business entrepreneur. Please email
podcaster. So you can have.
Well, hold on. Before we we made fun of that. Let's continue to make fun of it. Like, I don't know what I want to be when I grow up. I have a job or whatever, and that job is great, but I have 7 or 8 things that I like doing, and I think that's for future generations. That's going to be like the main. They're going to do like 7 or 8 things. Like, they're going to do like a ridiculous amount of things. So
yeah. No, I completely agree with that.
Great.
I mean, it's the idea of having a career that you go into and you work at for a company for 20, 30 years, then you retire.
You're not,
that's already gone.
That.
That's already gone. So I definitely agree with that. Yeah.
God damn it. What the hell? I mean,
I forget what we were talking about before you.
I've been drinking vodka this whole time, so I
know you didn't let me have some of the last bit, so you just took it all for yourself. So
I'm thinking I'm going to buy another bottle, and you'll have plenty. Like, next time, so let's pretend that SmarmBros.
I think the amount that it's gone off the rails with this drinking might not be the best.
No, it's perfect. I'm gonna say like 8 views if SmarmBros gets 8 listens or views or whatever.
I remember what I was going to talk about.
8. Okay, perfect. Keep that in back. Don't listen to anything I'm saying. 8
Done.
views, 8 listens. We will do another one of these. Okay, we're gonna do another one of these no matter what. But that's but if you don't believe what I just said,
well, I mean, we got to drink the next bottle.
I'm gonna buy another bottle of Tito's 100% American handmade vodka, made in Austin, Texas. Is gluten free apparently, according to the label.
Show at smarmbros.com. Tito's.
Please email us if you would like to be an advertiser, and it would be great to get at least one advertiser on board with us, and to reach our. If you're looking to reach more than 7 people, we're the perfect podcast for that, because we can reach 8 people.
Anyway, what I was going to say about the battery issue is I've already thought of a sort of.
I'm way drunker than he is, by the way. Drunker is a word. I'm more drunk than he is.
So you could have a company that makes charging stations, like little landing pads for drones where they can land on them and charge them, right? So if you can you can sell these to people, and there's an app connected with the charging stations, right? And so you go out to the store, you buy a charging station, maybe to use for your own drone, but also it comes with an app where you hook this up, you set it on your patio or on your roof or wherever you want to set it, somewhere that's accessible, and using the app, other people can land their drone on your station and, in an Uber-like fashion, pay for some of your power to charge their drone. So that's an idea that I came up with.
That's a great idea. Is that what is happening?
No. That's just something that I thought of as a solution for if we live in this world where everyone has a drone and they want to be able to send them long distances or charge them and whatnot, or send them out for the day, but the battery life is not long enough.
This is
one possible solution where and it's good for everyone, because it's also something where it's like, even if you don't own a drone, you can buy a charging station for a flat fee, hook it up into your wall, and then you can be making money off of other people landing and charging at your station without you having to do any work at all other than just provide a spot and hook it up to your wall.
I hope that you know
and now that it's on the podcast, boom, no one can steal it.
So it is taking like Tesla's like supercharger stations and applying that towards like drones.
Sort of, but it's more, that's why I say it's more Uber-like, because it's not a company really that's profiting. It's just more peer-to-peer. It's more like,
well,
there's a company that makes and sells the charging stations.
Uber comes to you.
Maybe
the charging stations, you still have to go to them, right?
Well, no, but I'm saying it's not between the company and the consumer. It's between, there's a company that makes the charging station. They sell it to you. You hook it up to your house. Other people with their drones, they go to their app to find where all the charging stations are that are not owned by the company. They're owned by just people that bought them, right?
I understand what you're saying now. So, like, you buy a charging station and anybody can use it.
Yeah.
Anybody.
Yeah. And they land their drone at your charging station, and you get paid through the app a couple of bucks or whatever. The power, maybe the company that sells them takes a little cut. But it's, so
you
then...
You heard it here first, folks.
Yeah. So then, if I want to send out my drone for the day, and it'll be a point where I don't have to do this consciously, right? If we get enough of these charging stations out there, the drone will know when it's low on battery, and it'll know where the nearest charging station is, so it'll know to have enough power left to fly there to recharge before it goes off to do whatever it needs to do.
Totally understand. Perfect. That's great idea right there.
Stay tuned for next week's Drone Talk, Rich.
Well, there are always ways to, like, envision the future of that industry, right? Like, feel good right now.
You're really sliding off the deep end here.
Oh, bro! Like,
when you were saying you were slurring your words before, you weren't actually slurring that bad.
Oh, I was.
Now you're just like,
but like, the show Drunk History, like, so I don't have to drive anywhere, and you do. So, like, I'm entitled
don't
to get.
Say that on the...
He's been drinking water for the last like 2 hours. It's fine. But I have no commitments to doing anything other than like sleeping in my bed. So I'm not too worried about that in the general like long scheme of things. So here, we're coming up along the last like minutes of the show, and this is our like, we did a test show, and unfortunately like nobody will ever hear that.
So sad.
This show seemed to technically be pretty good. Pretty good. What would you like to say to listeners as your like closing statement?
Have faith in the future. Things are getting better rapidly, more rapidly than you probably initially think. So if you're thinking about suicide, like, just think about if you don't have anything in your own life to live for, like, at least live to see the awesome shit that's going to be happening, even if none of it happens to you, right?
Today was a great day,
but
and you're great.
You're great,
and thank you. And I'm obviously great, based on what you just said. but at the end of the day, like, you just got to make sure that you're drinking Tito's handmade vodka if you're going to drink vodka, because it's voted.
SmarmBros.com.
Yeah, we need advertisers. Voted the world's best vodka and tonic, and we weren't drinking tonic, but we were drinking San Pellegrino, or S. Pellegrino mineral water, sparkling natural mineral water, and it was freaking. How do you feel? Like, I feel fantastic.
I've got a headache.
In a great way, right? It's like the best headache you've ever had, right?
No, it's Tito's.
So Donald Trump would say, "Look, I have a headache, but it's the best headache I've ever had."
Tito's San Pellegrino. You're not to blame for the headache. I had it before I started drinking. It's not you, it's me.
Yeah.
Please show at smarmbros.com. Please.
No, seriously, like. Totally, I think that the robots are going to be like a continuing theme. Drones are robots. That will be a continuing theme, right? The fact that politicians are ridiculous, that will be a continuing theme. And the fact that you and I totally disagree on whether we should or should not air our dirty laundry and, like, post polls online and that kind of stuff, that will be a continuing theme as well. So if you were listening with us almost 3 hours into the show, like, seriously appreciate it. And
yeah,
everything.
Thanks, you guys. Thanks for sticking it out. It's great to see you.
I'm sorry for the fact that you, like, had 3 hours to spare for this, but
no,
in the future,
why would you say that?
I think that we will totally, like, this is something that's evolving. It's
we hope we made your commute better. We hope we made as you were doing your chores
your
around the
3-hour
house,
jog,
as you were doing
the USDA recommends that you do.
The daily.
They're like, burn more
jog.
Eat less calories, burn more calories, do a 3-hour jog. There you go. You've burned more calories than you eat, right?
Yeah.
So, on top of all of the things that you've learned about nutrition and robotics and health and wellness and politics, we hope you tune in again. And seriously, thanks so much.
Next week for your weekly dose of Smarm.
SmarmBros.com, your weekly dose of Smarm.